say goodbye, then make me alive, make me alive. My heart's heating up, this love is on fire, love is on fire, on fire.
Elemente, sobresaliente, pa' tu mente, yeah. Sobresaliente pa' tu mente. Elemente, sobresaliente, pa' tu mente, yeah. Sobresaliente pa' tu mente.
If I say goodbye, then make me alive, make me alive. My heart's heating up, this love is on fire, love is on fire, on fire.
Elemente, sobresaliente, pa' tu mente, yeah. Sobresaliente pa' tu mente. Elemente, sobresaliente, pa' tu mente, yeah. Sobresaliente pa' tu mente.
Greetings, I am Rising Phoenix Aurora. Thank you for being here. You have found your way here. You're either on Patreon watching this live right now, or you are watching this on one of our platforms, Rumble, where I go live every Friday. Thank you for being here. Thank you. As you saw, this title is Remote Viewing the North Pole, the Inner Earth, and the Inner Earth Chronicles. There's so much to this. The vastness to how expansive this is no words for it, because at the North Pole is where we find the universal portal, where we exit out through to ascend out. So you're going to be hearing not only just spirituality, but then also combined with science and data, so that we could understand how this construct exists. Some of you might have read the book that I'm going to be covering, but to get to some of the lyrics written in the book, I am going to first of all have to go over the data, because our goal is to get to the written literature, but I'm going to explain to you first the data, so that when we are reading what he is saying, we actually understand it scientifically, energetically, and spiritually. Okay, so thank you again for being here. You all know who I am. Go to my workshops. My next workshop is in May. Come sign up. I have 20% off right now off all my live aura, hypnosis, entity removal, past life regression workshop, as well as all my retreats for this year. Come sign up. Come give me a hug. You're going to love it. But most importantly, come heal yourself and learn how to walk your most organic timeline by not consenting to these dark entities that are throughout the universe and some parts of the multiverse. But they also exist here, because in this earth, we are the multiverse and the universe. We are this infinite combination of races. So come sign up for that. Our next one's going to be in California, Sequoia, 3,000-year-old trees. You know that's on your bucket list, so come join me. June 6/9 portal. Someone was asking me on Instagram, like, well, so what's so portal about that? Well, one, we're in the year of the 9. So we know that the year in the 9 with the 369 theory, and I teach that through my courses, is that it is the actual universal number, and goes on and on infinitely. The number, when it adds upon itself over and over, it always sums up basically to the number 9. But you could join my courses, because we talk about the science through that, and then there's the 6. So in what the 6 represents is mother, who is the future ascension of us, which was going to be the 6th dimension. So that's what really the number 6 represents, is us breaking out from the cycle, rising out into ascension. And then the number 9 is father, because he is the ether through all time, life, and space. So we got the 6 and the 9. 6 is more of mother, who is the planet bodies, the energy bodies throughout our universe and multiverse. 9 is father, who is the multiverse and all essences of the ether. So 9 is really the number for the ether. So that explains why we chose 6/9. A little bit of data there for you. Okay, and then otherwise I'm going to Ireland, for those of you who know about my 13 keys and the universal laws that we speak about, not mine, but the universe's 13 key star that I speak about in book 1. galactic soul history of the universe. That key is opening up this year of love. And I am going to be at the Emerald Heart, where it's going to spread from, the 13th key. So come join me to come get certified. And then that is on right at the 8-8 portal. So 8-9. Come join me. These are going to be the best choices you've ever made. If you've been watching me, I'm telling you, just come sign up. It's 20% off too, both of those retreats. Come sign up. Don't wait anymore. You are strong, you are ready, you are powerful, and vibrate yourself to this higher organic timeline. And we had a roundtable last Friday, so you could watch that and you could hear them, the practitioners talking about this beauty and what it is like to be this alchemist that you were born to be. Okay, go to my website, risingphoenixaurora.com. So this is going to be new, you all. If you notice, I did more intro, is because we're actually going to be sharing. We've never shared these videos with the public, but we're trying to get some of those people who haven't come on over to watch this content. We know you who are currently here live with me, how huge it is for you, right? How soul and heart activating it is for you. So we're trying to get some more people to come feel these heart activations. So this video will be aired publicly, but you could write your questions there in comments. We have Gina here. So yeah. Okay. We have Gina here, so she'll be keeping track of the questions. So let's get started. All right. So to understand, and actually I forgot to get the book. Let me get that really quick. Hold on. Okay, so this is a book. Now, again, we're going to try to cover at the end some of what I have already. But before we understand this, we need to understand what we're going to read, okay? So here we go. Wow, everything's looking good. Gina, we're good? Okay, all right, beautiful. Whew. All right, so you've seen the map that I used, which is vastly connected to the map from, not quite, but close enough. This map is from Septentrionalium Terrarum Descripto. So that's another language though, but is there a translation for that in English? Don't know. Oh, okay, here it is. Here, where is it? Okay. So I'm going to show you the map, and someone actually translated this. I believe this should be in Latin. I'm pretty sure it is. So let's see what it says here. Okay, so we're going to begin to remote view the North Pole. In order to remote view the North Pole, we need to look at a map of the actual Arctic, the North Pole. Okay. So this is factually a map archived in history. And this is what the description says. This influential map by the famous map maker Gerardus Mercator was the first separately printed map dedicated to the Arctic, which this is just the beginning, you all. I have a whole series on, is it this one? I don't think it is. Is it? No, I have to pull it up. Of the Arctic. So this is just one map. Then I found a whole series archived in the Library of Congress, which I'll show you a quick glimpse of it. So at the time of this first publication in 1595, the Arctic was fast becoming an area of intense interest to European powers, all seeking faster and easier passage to Asian markets via the northwest and northeast. What does that mean? That means that instead of going around in a circle, hey, what if you cross over from, Asia to you just cross over, right? Like when you're walking and say you're going down a park. Now you can go down the sidewalk and go like a square, like a right angle. But you find that this is geometry, right? If you cut it, and you see in quantum physics, if you cut it, if you turn into the grass, into the lawn, right? You're actually cutting your time, right? In diameter, basically, you're cutting your time that it took you. So this is what they were trying to do, right? Basically, go into it and figure out. Cool. So this is what it currently looks like. Well, this is what they claim, right? Okay, so this is what the ancients, right, would tell us. Cool website. Thank you to whoever made this. This is what it really looks like, but this is what they tell us it looks like now. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Why is this all empty here? Where this is right here, the Lake Michigan. And look at that, it's directly connected. That's where I'm at in Chicago, directly connected to the North Poles and the waters here. Okay, all right. Crazy cool. All right, so what's even more is that I had said in our part 1, so this is again part 2. So in part 1, I had said that we were going to translate it and figure out what these different parts of this map meant. And thank you to the practitioner who shared with me the link of this here that's already translated. Thank you. So we're going to go into the understanding of what's going on. And I'm going to be showing you videos. I'm going to be showing you images to help us understand how is Earth constructed? How do the oceans work? How does the land work? And how we're connected to the beyond of the infinite waters of creation and the universe and the multiverse, because all waters are connected, all planets basically. This Earth is different though, because it is a construct where there's multiverses, right? Pieces of the multiverse. But ultimately, the only way that we could connect to this planet in the 9th dimension and the 8th dimension, and that's what we see, are stars that spin around us every night, right? We see it in a spiral. They go round and round and round, and they never change. So astrology, I mean, that's the only way astrology, you have to understand that that's the way it works. It spins, right? To understand it. So all these beings, basically star beings, we're seeing them now in the ocean, aren't we? I made a video about it. We're going to be sharing the links with you later. Inner Earth starships, right? So what's happening is like the waters, those, and then how I found, I'll show you a quick video. When I went to Hawaii, right? And we saw the stars in the water. So the way that it works is these are interdimensional star beings that are a vibratory match to the plasmic water of creation, and they're portaling in. So I've been talking to the magical creatures, why we see like mermaids everywhere, right? All these like sea creatures. Actually, I think the government was talking about how they exist. I could try to find you a video on that. Gina, do you have the video on that? I think I saved it somewhere.
I'll look and see.
Yeah, there was a lady talking. She was talking about how there's like experiments in mermaids and underground bases. I think that'd be a cool video to share, and then you could text it to me easier. So yeah, when we were on our way to Hawaii, right? You saw that video, but just so you could see an understanding. Pulling it up, right? So the only way that the water could become like this is because it needs to be fourth dimensional, and it is factually now a fourth dimensional state. Again, even the government is talking about it because they can't really hide it, right? And well, we have a different type of leaders in government right now that are allowing for humanity to expand and be creative. So right, so then we are, let me show you here. You can see the screen there. Can you see it, Gina?
I can still see the map. I don't see the video.
Okay, well, let me change the screen. Hold on. Okay, so So the fourth dimension is the water. This is where we're finding the fourth dimension scientifically, you understand? So here I am on the airplane. You're going to see me zoom in as I show you, I'll talk. So all these fourth dimensional waters basically connect to the beyond of the other planets, the other constructs. You see that? Now, this is very beautiful. This is the Pacific Ocean, okay? Now, I'm going to be talking about the Pacific Ocean and its importance on Earth. But here in the Pacific Ocean is where we saw all these starships inside the water. It looks like you're looking at stars, but as you heard, I'm on the airplane and I'm looking down at the water. Now, this went on for hours, 3 to 4 hours of a recording, okay? So what we're seeing here is we're seeing multidimensional beings. What does that mean? We are seeing beings from other planets. Do you understand? Stars. So these are actual stars, except for they're mobile. They're not, say, stuck in a spiral like how we look at our night sky every night. They're moving around, okay? And they're portaling in through the plasma. They create the plasma in the water, right? Here it is, okay? So besides stars, then that's where we are going to start seeing even more mermaids, not ones that the government is experimenting on, but we're going to be starting seeing the other mermaids that are coming interdimensionally from other planets that are assisting to hold the energy here. The water used to be just as populated as the land is. Do you understand? So it was equal amount population. So within the water exists the universe and the multiverse construct. Do we understand that? Yeah? Okay. So stop share there. All right. So now that we understand the water, okay, we understand here as we're looking at this map, is that this Earth here at the North Pole in this map is divided into 4 different sections, isn't it? There's 7 major bodies of water, but there's 4 major bodies of water. And they are so different from one another that they are different in density. And I'll show you videos on that where, you know, each ocean meets, okay? All right, see that? And then in the part 1, you really want to watch part 1, you'll have to sign up for Patreon for that. Because in part 1, we talked about the difference between, we went deep into the water, even, more details on what I'm speaking about as far as its densities and what are the differences between the lake, right? Like lakes that are freshwater as saltwater, like the oceans. And summarize, the water is being fed from here, from the center here of the North Pole, which is this here. Now it looks like a mountain, but it is actually used to be a tree of life before the trees either shattered or got cut down. So then this tree, alongside with the other trees, glowed with light, and they were our suns. There was light coming out of them to power up the entire Earth, to light us up. That way we wouldn't be dark, because, you know, you gotta, when you're outside, right, there's a tree outside, it blocks you from the sun, doesn't it? You're on the shade, it's gonna block it. So they were the light, they were the suns. So once that got cut off, these trees got gigantic trees that we've been talking about through the Antarctica Tertiary series got cut off. Then what happened is that we needed to create an embodiment of that light that they all carried into the crystalline sun, which is really a crystal that's floating up there, is what Father Ra is telling me. Wow. So it's a God crystal, alongside with the moon too. That's the female, right? The grandmother moon, really. So these are crystals, parts of crystals. Ooh, I'm seeing a vision now, remote viewing now. This mountain here, or tree, is talking to me. She said that she shattered into pieces and became the sun and the moon, both suns and the moons, the dark and the light. Wow. So shattered into 4. And again, with the 4 sacred directions, you see it in all like shamanic or ancient teachings, you know, of the 4 sacred directions. All right. How many directions do we have here though? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So 36 directions right now we're seeing here. And this has to do with the meridians on the map, which I'm going to be teaching you how to read a map. Even though we're not sailors, figured it out how this is working. So 36, right? I said 36, which equals 9. Oh, wow. 369. Okay. So we're looking at it like this would be like a 36-pointed star. Powerful star to use in your alchemy, because this will direct you through time. It's through not even time. It will direct you through all life and space, not time. It's 36. Okay. And what's the date today? Today's the 18/9. The day is 9. Plus we're in April, so 4/9, which equals 18. Right? No, wait. Let me try that again. Hold on. No. Okay.
Yeah, 13.
13 plus 9 equals 21. No. 22.
22.
22. 4, which equals 4, the 4 sacred directions. All right. So then here we go. Mana theta, it's hard to count numbers. All right. Okay, so let's read this though. Let's read this, what this has translated to. Can you confirm, is this originally written, Gina, look this up. Is this originally written in Latin? Wonder what's
I'll look it up.
I'll
look it up now.
Okay. So, Polis Arcticus. So this is what it says. Contemporary misconceptions of the North Pole largely stem from the writings of a Franciscan friar from Oxford who traveled the North Atlantic region in the early 1360s. His now lost travelage, which is Invitio Fortunata, that would be Latin for sure, contained a description of the North Pole as a magnetic island. 1300s, and it was already an island, which is a mountain, cut off mountain, right? A trunk of a giant tree. Okay. Rupes nigra, a 33-mile wide black rock, 33-mile, surrounded by a giant whirlpool. Whirlpool. There it is, guys. There's that portal that I'm speaking about, the universal portal that you exit through, and 4 continents. Yep. Between these Arctic land masses, ocean water rushed northwards and descended into the earth and the pole. Yeah. So the ocean waters rush into, we talked about this in detail in part 1, go into the North Pole, but then there's waters that birth out from these rivers here, these 4 rivers, but there's also like, it's like in the Bible and different like religions, which we don't really follow, but where they talk about like sacred rivers. But initially, you understand, basically, again, ocean water is going in, and the fresh water is coming out from there, which water gives us life, right? We can't really drink the salt water. We can only drink the fresh water. So we are literally, Divine Mother is pouring in through this universal portal at the North Pole, water to us to survive, right? To be alive, to heal us, so on and so on, right? We know how vast water is to our basically living. So how beautiful is that? Oh, wow. Okay, so then those waters get poured in, and then the rivers somehow stay separated, right? So how does that happen? How come if the rivers are pouring in here at the North Pole, how do they still separate as being a river and not an ocean? Because if we have rivers pouring in here, wouldn't they mix in with the salt water, right? The oceans, they They kind of do, but not really. They don't, because they're two different densities. The salt water basically is more of a plasmic, thicker water, which keeps it separated like oil and water. Okay, to science. Then we got the fresh water that doesn't have the salt. It might have some salt, but not to the extremity that the ocean does, and that's how they stay separated. Basically, they're two different densities. Okay, so we got the ocean that is salt, and we talked about this in part 1, but like different parts, like, was it the Dead Sea? Yeah, the Dead Sea has so much salt in it that you can't even swim in it, you float. Okay, so all right, so we're looking at them there. So let me show you some visuals now. So now we have some confirmation here from this written literature, and we know what it means. Okay, so it's a magnetic, and this is why, again, why sailors, and why, or even if you have a compass in your car or your home, why it always points north, because the arrows being magnetized to the north. The north is where, one, there is the island, but then there's also the opening. Okay, and this is also where I've always explained that the heart of Mother Earth is at her north.
And Aurora, yes, it was in Latin. It
was in Latin.
Originally
Okay.
in Latin, yeah.
Thank you. So, all right, we got good visuals here. So let me show you some data now of what I'm speaking about. Okay, let me load that. Is everyone understanding everything? How are we doing on questions? Let me know if we have questions.
Yes, there's 2 questions for this part.
Yes, go ahead. Ask the questions.
Yeah, somebody asked, did the cutting of this tree you were speaking of precede and facilitate the fall of Atlantis?
Yes, it did. So it seems as, because this was 1300s, that initial tree somehow was shattered or cut off, or it feels like it wasn't cut off, it's just that it shattered, like it couldn't hold the density anymore of the 5th dimension, because of the collective choice that we were going to fall down to the lower density, which would have been from the 5th to the 4th. And now we're in the 4th, so it couldn't hold this construct anymore. It's like when it shows me, like when a crystal breaks and it decides to either shatter into pieces, but then I see that when this tree shattered, magnetic mountain shattered, all those pieces inside of her heart then went into bigger trees where they could hold it. Eventually, though, then we get to the Tartarian eras, which would have been like the 1800s, or initially when the England, or the, as we talked about in the Branto Monte map, remember Antarctica, Tartaria, where all these, like, men basically are reigning over different lands, and how they moved in both from the Antarctica or from other parts of the land. So they move in, and then they target North America, right, and cut off major trees. Seems as North America, and why it is the location where we are seeing basically leading ascension. There's a vast amount of in North America who have people are woke and leading, the new Earth shift, you can say. So it's because the trees really transferred here, but then also all over the Earth, as we've been talking. But there was, it's what I can say, it's like the rivers carried over through Lake Michigan and all the Great Lakes, carried over the energy of the Zion tree, which this tree is called Zion. In history, we've heard the word Zion. It's very powerful. Now, this word is very heart activating, because go watch part 1, sign up to Patreon, because in part 1, we begin to talk about this Zion tree and the people. Okay, so there's something very, very big there. Basically, they are also remember the video I showed you with the starships? That's them, you all. That's them. They're able to teleport from their Zion tree over here through the waters. They portal in through the Zion and then come here. That's them too. So we're looking at this is big, it's huge. We're looking at a rising in dimension. And as we're rising in dimension is how some of these basically new things that we're seeing are happening. Yeah, it's exciting times, guys. Okay, so, so did I answer your question? What was your question again?
Yes. The question was, did the cutting of this tree precede and facilitate the fall of Atlantis?
Yes, exactly. So then there couldn't be 5D, had to go to 4D, and then we know through the Antarctica Tertiary series how then officially 3D after Yeshua's crucifixion in 1633 with the old maps we found, and then from there they're invading Americas, cutting the trees down, you know, all that. And then they lower us to a density with the killing of most indigenous people here, or overall just killing all over the world to many indigenous people, even down to New Zealand, guys. As far as New Zealand, they've conquered, right? So that pain and trauma then lowered us to the third dimension where we are currently at, and then again furthermore cutting down all the Grand Canyon and Monument Valley trees, all those Arizona trees where this was held, then degress us down. Okay, continue on.
All right. And then, are these 4 continents in the whirlpool inhabited? These continents appear very close to Greenland. Thank you.
Yeah, so Greenland is part of that. A piece of Greenland is there. So how come you were allowed to see Greenland, but why are we not allowed to see the rest? Something's going on there. So it's that whole restriction, right? We can't go because of a treaty, I think in the 1950s, can't go to Antarctica, you can't go to the North Pole. And through this book, we find out that these waters are truly infinite, because the minute you portal in through the whirlpool, you're out, you're in the universe. And there is a never ending to the where you're going to go at that point. Okay. So the Zion people at the mountain, the map I showed you, they're basically guarding this universal space. So it's again so big that they're able to portal into our now denser location, because the high, well, like we explained in the first Antarctica Tartaria videos, the farther we go out into the rim of our space to Antarctica walls, and then past Antarctica, the higher we go in dimension. It's the same thing if you go inwards, you do raise in vibration towards the North Pole. And yeah, what other questions you have? And then I'm going to show videos.
And then initially, was the Arctic not frozen just like the Antarctic was not frozen?
Exactly. So one, it is frozen by some technology, but then it also froze itself. So it's both. And mostly it did have to freeze itself because it had to freeze the 5th dimensional crystalline blueprint. And in order to do that and because humanity again decided to kind of fall asleep and kind of go in stagnant, right? Like you're in, what's that called? When you're stagnant, it's frozen.
Like cryostasis?
Yeah, we're in that. So that's where you can visualize kind of the water in cryostasis, because it's holding the original blueprint of the 5th dimension. And then these waters are waiting to be melted, and why it's so important that they are melting, because as they continue to melt, they're pouring in the 5th dimensional construct that was here. You understand? So they melt, they pour it in, and then these waters themselves are also leveling us up as they melt bit by bit by bit. Okay? All right. So show you quick video here.
And then somebody said that the indigenous people living in Greenland, they have been fighting against Denmark, who colonized them. And then also, President Trump has been speaking about wanting to try to purchase Greenland and for safety purposes.
Yes. Okay. So that'd be really important for us to do. So send love to that. That's in benevolence. And then we got other parts, right? So we got 3 other lands, and what's going on in these lands. So the question is, we'll be remote viewing them, and as we continue to deveil all this, are they being hidden by the benevolence? And only Greenland has been able to, ooh, I do feel that it's hidden. Yeah, Divine Mother saying is that they're veiled. Okay, so we've gone to like a retreat, and we were in the Gulf of Mexico. We're looking at the Gulf of Mexico. It's not there. It's not on a Google map. It's not even on Google Earth, right? But all of a sudden, fog clears, and there they are. They're mountains, and we can see giant angel being flying in there. With our physical eyes, we got to see this. Physically, it was there. So it's like that. It's cloaked in fog, just like the North America and South America were cloaked on this side of the world. Okay. And show you a picture of that. It's gonna be a good long video, guys. At least 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. So we look at old maps. This one's from the 1600s. You see these maps, and they're always depicted like this. So here we are. They're depicted like this for a reason. Because this is the way the meridians and also the longitude and longitude and altitude work. So when we look here, this was all basically veiled. Okay, but here, because the Archon AI virus, right, happened, that was not veiled. It was vibrating to the 3rd dimension. This was veiled because it wasn't a matching vibration to this side of the world, which was more like a lower dimension. But this side over here was holding the space still of the 5th dimension until then the crucifixion of Yeshua, and then again the English or whoever these men were started invading at that point. But it was veiled, so they couldn't get to it, you understand? Protecting, the land was protecting itself. You could watch Yeshua just walk the earth. So then we're also looking at, also here, this is North Pole, see that? Now, they're going to depict them in different ways, but even then, what we're seeing here is that looks like this is Greenland. Look at that. This is already being cloaked here in the 1600s. Okay. I feel like the government, the elites, we'll call them, right? The elites can get to, we can't say government anymore because we got some more positive government now, but they can't get to all of them, because they're guarded by sea monsters, by really basically tough weather. And it's for a reason, again, protecting this here. Okay. So that's that. But let me show you the different bodies of water that I've been talking about, show you a couple videos here. We're understanding everything, and then I'll take some more questions in a minute. Let me just show you this really quick. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's look at this. So I'm sure you've seen them, these videos, but I'm going to show you really quick what I was speaking about, the different densities. Now, again, scientifically, the salt water is denser because it's got salt in it. It's got a higher amount of density. The reason why it's density is not that it's heavier, it's thicker. It's not that it's lower dimensional, it's thicker is what that means. The salt makes it thicker. Now, when we understand salt, we understand that salt is also, they're also crystals. Salt are beings. They're actual beings. They're, when you look at them close up, they're like spirals. They're vibrating now. I'll show you quick pictures on that. But when you're looking at, is this the one? No, that's not the one. Where was I? The wrong one. This one. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is why when you this is a video of the Dead Sea and like the African area, Egyptian area.
Why can't the Dead Sea drown?
So you see that? No one, you just float. No one can swim in it. You factually cannot. You would just automatically float because there's too much salt in it. It seems as even like you can say that the salt might even be mightier than the fresh water, than the water itself, basically. Not fresh water. The water itself is less even than the water. Show you there. Can you see that picture? The video? See that? That's how much sea salt is inside of it. Okay? All right. And then when we go here, incredible, huh? So
you can see the picture, but the video, it's not really playing. You can kind of see little pictures of it.
Oh, okay. Let me know if it clears. Can you see that? No?
I could see a picture of a person holding the sand, and then it flashed to a picture of the water.
So were you able to see the man floating in the water?
Initially, yeah. We saw that picture.
Oh, gosh. Okay, it's calling on the angels. I don't know why it does that. It works, and then all of a sudden I do these videos, and then all of a sudden Zoom doesn't work right. And there's nothing I can do about it. It's just Zoom. All right. Well, I'm gonna send some love over and calling Archangel Zakiel to clear that now, and so that these videos can load. Come on, let's get them to load. Can you see that?
So what I can see is like a picture of the beach. Oh, and then there's a picture of a spoon with salt in the water.
Yes. Okay, so that's how much salt is in there, okay? I wonder if maybe if I show these on TikTok, they'll be easier. These are the ones I have loaded. So let me see if they show. Let me load them on TikTok, and hopefully you can see them, okay? So I'll show you a couple videos here. Okay, so remember that map with the 4 sacred directions, and remember how we talked about the oceans, right?
Did you know there's a fascinating place on Earth where 2 oceans...
So we'll listen to this, and I'll add as we need to. Hopefully you can see this. Let me know if you can see it.
Did you know there's a fascinating place on Earth where 2 oceans meet, but their waters never fully blend?
Yeah, you can see that.
Visible barrier stands
the video?
between them.
Yeah, it's like boat going between the 2 waters.
Yeah, but is this frozen or is it showing good?
It's a tiny bit laggy, but it's showing really good though.
While the other shimmers and shades of
okay, so then so we know that you've heard about this.
Did you know there's a fascinating place on Earth
you see that there's 2 bodies of water.
But their waters never seem to fully blend.
So it's not just so for example, this one is
this occurs where the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean.
So this is supposed to be the Pacific and the Atlantic. You see that's 2 different densities. Why is that? It's not just the Pacific Atlantic, you all. It's basically where all these different oceans of the 4 sacred directions meet. Okay? And then you got the Arctic, which is the north, and then the Antarctica waters. And then those are different densities. Isn't that incredible? So it's an explanation to the different basically plasma. And it seems like what's happening here is that these 4 different bodies, but they say that there's like 7. Yeah, so what is that they're different parts of the construct of the fact that we are a universe and a multiverse. So they're different basically plasmic waters that make us into the multiverse and the universe. You understand? Okay, so these different bodies of water, say you're looking at the map with these divide of the water, is bringing in different energies, force fields, crystalline energy, basically to allow for all life to be sustainable here. The water is. Okay, so let's look at another one, and hopefully you're able to see this one fine. You could hear this. This is interesting about this other part of the body of water here. And again, Gina, just let me know if you can't.
This is the place where ships
see it.
disappear. This is Cape Horn. This is the place where ships disappear. This is Cape Horn, the deadliest sea passage on Earth.
Okay, do you see where that's at?
Kilometers south of Tierra del Fuego.
Yeah, you can see that really good.
Really awesome. So this is Tierra de Fuego, which means land of fire. So why is it here? And this is actually the most dangerous place that you could be going to. We could listen to him, but right here is where we're at. Basically, we're at the end of South America, and it's actually, you don't ever want to kind of like, well, you have to be very cautious, but a lot of ships go down there. Okay, so let's hear this and I'll explain to you why they go down there.
Atlantic and Pacific collide in a
Okay, so again, we're seeing two bodies of water. We're seeing the Atlantic and the Pacific. But then we're also down here, you all, is Antarctica. We know also that in the Urbano Monte map, the South America, it seems like you could even walk across it. But it seems like there's water now. It seems like the ocean raised the sea level here. But in the past, you could walk across it. Now what this did is it created some kind of current here, and it's a force field that is keeping people from going to Antarctica. So unless you have a submarine, like the deep state would have submarines and they're able to do that. Okay, so keep listening here. So again, you're looking at two different densities of water here.
deadly mix of 80-knot winds, 30-meter waves, and hidden icebergs. For centuries, this was the only way between oceans, forcing ships to risk it all. Cape Horn isn't just dangerous, it's a graveyard. Over the years, it's claimed over 800 ships and 10,000 lives. Those who dare to cross know the stakes. One wrong move, and you're at the mercy of the ocean. But the terror doesn't end there. Beyond Cape Horn lies the Drake Passage, the gateway to Antarctica, where waves and winds are even more terrifying. Today, Cape Horn remains...
So this is a magnetic field. This is a field that I'm seeing, and it's a circle all around, and it's a circle. Visualize the Random map, how we're inside, right? Okay. The walls. You guys have been watching me, so it's hard for me to show every single thing, but you know the Random map, right? Okay, there's a circle. All right. So I'm gonna have to show it. I gotta show it real quick because we need the visual. Hold on, let me pull that up. Okay, so that's why it's dangerous, because okay. So here, okay. So right there where you were looking at is right here. See how it's still connected? In the 1500 Urbano Monte map, 1580s or 1570s, it's still connected. But here, something's happened. Now there's water here, and it seems to kind of some kind of whirlpool. And like the video said, it was really the only way to connect from one ocean to the other. Interesting enough. Huh. So otherwise you have to, I don't know how you do it. So then it's indented here. That part of what he's speaking about has indented, but you get sucked in here. And there's massive waves. It's too destructive. It's too chaotic here. So then I do feel that this water, if you go down close to Antarctica, it's not just here, but this is some kind of passageway to Antarctica. I feel there's something very powerful here, you all. And then that's where, is that the guy that we said that went bad? Here, because we got the centaurs. This is a land of free, right? We got the centaurs. Nobody's over this. But then we got this guy here. Okay. And it's very close to the outer rim of our dimension. Okay.
with that, somebody was just mentioning at the tip of South Africa, there's another cape, Cape Agulhas. I think that's how you say it.
So here?
At the tip of Africa.
Yeah.
And they said that's where the Atlantic and Indian Ocean meet.
Yes.
And they were also wondering if that's also an entrance to Antarctica.
Yes, yes. That's what I'm seeing. So this doesn't just go here, it spins around and it's a field, a energetic field, and the oceans basically oscillating so high there, which is gigantic. It says to like even like 300 foot. Imagine that 300-foot wave coming at you. Oh, you're on a ship. Oh my God, you know, and it'll take you. I mean, the water's unpredictable. So then, yeah, so then that's happening all around us like this, that circle. Okay. So let's go back to sharing the videos. Let's keep looking at the waters here. So this is what's so amazing, that they got through that. I mean, they had some divine help because they were on like, it's almost like when I was reading this, and we'll find out more about it later, but the way that they were able to get through it is because they had a smaller boat to get through it. Like these big boats would have just like kind of sunk in, and they were able to maneuver through. And it's like the water basically was carrying them. You know, that part of Moana where the water is like taking her and guiding her. It's like that for them. So there was the Zion people at the inner earth, or the Agarthians, at the center, basically guiding them there and working with the water to keep them safe. Because otherwise, I mean, you just can't make it there. Oh, but that's Antarctica. Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about North Pole. Yeah. Okay, but we were talking about Antarctica. It's the same kind of energy, basically, when you both reach the ends of the Earth, of Antarctica, and the inside of Earth at North Pole. Okay? How am I doing? Am I making sense? Good?
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay. All right, so let me show you. Yeah, so then, yes, you are right. There's several, again, these waters meet. So since TikTok's working, I will use TikTok.
Aurora, since you just said that that's kind of how it was at the Antarctic and the Arctic, and you said the ends of the Earth and then the inner Earth, would it be spiraling one way to go in and spiraling the other way with the waves kind of be
Sorry, hold
opposite?
on, it's not pausing. I can't quite hear you. Hold on.
Which is enough to fit 5 moons in a row. Hard to believe, but the
Not
Pacific
pausing.
Ocean is larger than all the land on Earth combined. Literally, we could fit all continents.
Okay. We're trying to rewind you so we could actually talk about you. 1 second. Okay. Okay. Pause this time. Pause. Okay. Paused. Okay. Go ahead. Say that again.
Yes, so you talked about the ends of the Earth and then
Yes.
the entrance to the inner Earth at the North Pole. So would these waves and vortexes kind of be opposite of each other when you're kind of dealing with those areas?
Yes, and that has to do with the whole opposite of the magnetic fields, how the ends go counter, the water spins counter, and then the inwards where we're at goes in the States, goes clockwise, pulling in, outside pulls out. So inside pulls in. Oh, so the inside pulls in, right? And that's what the whole ocean water goes in, into the universal portal that the map talked about. And then the outside pulls out, which at that point, you're seeing water coming in and out. Like the magnetic field. So we talk about the toroidals. Okay, I'm going to show you what latitude and how these magnetic fields work. So I'll have the data for you later. We're good?
Yeah, and then that basically answers, somebody asked, is Earth basically a donut like the toroidal spheres? that you're
Yes.
talking about?
Yes, and we got a couple donuts though, not just one. So let's hear this. Okay, this good data here. You're gonna play? Play for me. All right, let me try to rewind that again. Okay, here we go.
Many people don't even realize how huge the Pacific Ocean really is. Look, the distance from Asia to South America is more than 12,000 miles, which is enough to fit 5 moons in a row. Hard to believe, but the Pacific Ocean is larger than all the land on Earth.
You see that? It's vast. And again, this is where I showed you the starships were there for hours when we got to Hawaii. Biggest body of water is the Pacific Ocean. Okay?
Combined. Literally, we could fit all continents, every piece of land here, and there would still be room for 23 Texases. The Pacific Ocean is the largest of all the oceans and covers almost half of the planet's water surface.
46%.
This is hard to see on a flat map, but becomes obvious on a globe.
Look at that.
Where we can see that.
So if we were to put this into spheric form, that's how much water is in the Pacific. Wow. Pacific. What is going on there? There is a lot more than we realize. So we're looking at almost like a mini version North Pole. So when people travel, when you fly, you don't go across this. This would be forever. You go more like diagonally flying there. If you look at the way the pilots fly, I mean, that would be just ridiculous for you to do that. So you go across diagonally, like I said, how you cross from, if you're walking in the park, you cross the grass like that.
The Pacific Ocean covers 1/3 of the entire Earth. What's interesting,
1/3.
the ocean holds the 3 deepest points on the planet, the Tonga Trench, the Philippine Trench, and the Mariana Trench. It's so deep that it could fit Mount Everest, 2 Burj Khalifas, and 1.5 Eiffel Towers inside. The land is so rare that the Pacific Ocean is home to the most isolated and remote place on the planet, Point Nemo.
Point Nemo.
Where sometimes the closest people are astronauts on the International Space Station.
I mean, it's not just that
Many
point.
people don't even
That's
realize.
just, it's like many points that you just, can't really get to there. And let me show you further on how big the Pacific is, because the moon tells us of how Earth looks like, because she is a reflection. She's a crystalline mirror reflecting our reflection. How she looks, like a mirror. She's reflecting what we look like. So we've talked about this deeply in part 1, but I'll show you a reference here because this goes with the Pacific. So where is the Pacific Ocean in the reflection of the moon? Right? Okay, so, So, what are we looking at here? So are we saying that the Pacific Ocean is here? Looks like it. Okay, so let's look at this video really quick. Okay, so this is the reflection of the moon, watch, see? With a map over it. And this is our land here. This is us here. And then there's ice wall, right? Now this is facts. They knew about this, especially in Tartaria. They knew. I mean, Tesla talks about how we were inside a firmament. He talks about it like it's science, like it's just a thing, like it's just normal to them. We know that it was until the 1950s and 60s that they changed the maps in the school system. Okay. All right. So this is the Pacific, correct, Gina?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like North and South America with Canada. And then it looks like that would be Pacific. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so we're looking at 46% of the mass of this Earth is there. And we talked about in part 1, what is here? This is different. So this looks more physical. See, this is more physical lands. Here we are. Would this be, this is South America, right? Or Africa? Either one of those is connecting, isn't it? It's connecting you. And that's where that Tierra de Fuego, where the ships are sinking, right here somewhere. And then you're basically connected to a whole, look at how vast this is in comparison to where we're at. That is infinite lands that we have no idea what is going on there, you guys. Who is there? who are these people? What's going on? And I know that the elites cannot reach these farther ends because they get higher dimensional as you reach them higherly. And even here, there's a portal here, like that universal portal here at the North Pole. Here, there's also one here. See, these craters are not craters. They're universal portals. You understand? Okay. And then here's the connection there. The Pacific Ocean connects you to these infinite waters. And even the Cape Nemo must be here somewhere here, close to this area. You are very close there. Cool, huh? Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Questions, comments so far?
Wow, yeah, that's incredible. There's one question. It said, could these points in the waters where two oceans meet, emanating vortexes and frequencies around the world, be connected to the hidden, built over underground cities like Tartaria that had those powerful electromagnetic temples?
Yes, absolutely. There is when I do readings, I still see like people like they have parallel lives and they're like an Amazonian somewhere, like for real still, in an island somewhere on Earth and we don't even know about it. And this Amazonian woman are cloaked and they're still there holding something. A magnetic field, they're protecting a crystal, a god crystal maybe, something's going on there. Yeah, they're there, they're cloaked. They can't get to them. And then that's why they need fields like, whirlpools and, things like this that will keep away man that cannot get to them. It become dangerous. Even what was that whole hype? Was it last year when the submarine went missing? I feel like it was doing something like that. It was trying to get somewhere where it shouldn't have got into, and then the oceans swallowed it up or got them. You understand? And that was a submarine. Imagine that. Submarine's supposed to be able to handle something like that, right? There's some more answers there. Questions, comments?
Somebody was just talking
You're
about
able to see this now, good? You're able to see this? Oh, thank God.
The videos are looking really good, however you're doing it.
Okay, thank you. Keep it, angels, please keep it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, somebody was saying that the salt water must be very activating and that they know that there's some shops that sell that salt water.
They do. Yeah, you could find even the Dead Sea salt water and bathe in it. I soaked my feet in it. It felt really good. And then, yeah. Okay, we're understanding that, right? I'll keep showing you like quick videos here of the ocean now that we're working.
Really quickly,
Yeah,
with that visual of the moon and the earth.
Yeah.
And it showed kind of the densities of the lands, right?
Yes.
So the ones that were more plasmic would be the lighter color and the denser would be the darker color, right?
Yes.
Okay.
More physical.
Yeah, more physical.
Means that what is here over here, it seems more physical. It seems physical, but not because it is lighter consistency, but it does have a carbon base.
And then that would be the Antarctica area, right?
Exactly. That's what we talk about Antarctica, how, Mars and so on is out there, not here, right? Any other questions, comments on this before I move on to the oceans again?
There's some questions for later.
Okay, so I'm good. All right, so let's keep sharing here. Okay. So did we see this one?
This is the place where ships...
Yeah, we saw that one. Next one. This is this is the African? Let me look that up. It is I have it written here. Yeah, it looks like it's, hold on, it's loading. What's open here? This one is where the African Indian Ocean meets. Hold on, it's loading. Sorry, the dogs are going out. Okay, hold on. I don't know what happened to it. The duck is gone. Try to reload it. Okay. Okay, so that is where the African Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean meet, that video. Play it again. You can see it good? So again, another densities, 2 different densities. Just can't mix. Yeah. Seems like this one has more soil in it. So this one looks like, this is the Atlantic, and this looks like the Pacific Indian Ocean. It's thicker. It's got soil in it instead of saying, it might have, it definitely, I think it has salt, but the soil emerged. It's like, looks like mud water. So what's under there? If it was the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. It seems like to be a dispersing of soil coming out from the land, and it makes it that color. But under, I feel like this civilization that we don't know about definitely used to be there in this ocean. Parts of Atlantis for sure. Okay, so that's one video. Let me see. What's the next one?
I'm sure you've heard
Yeah.
the news, 2 oceans meet but don't mix. It sounds like magic, but it's actually science. Picture this. You're off the coast of Alaska where the Pacific and Arctic Oceans collide, but here's the kicker. They don't mix. It's like oil.
Here's another one. There's another part. The Arctic and the Pacific don't mix either. See that?
And water. Why? Because they have different densities, salinity levels, and temperatures. Think of it like a layered cake. Each ocean layer is unique, creating a visible boundary. The Pacific is warmer and saltier, while the Arctic is colder and less salty. This difference makes it hard for the waters to blend. So next time you see this awe-inspiring sight, you'll know the science behind it. Nature, you never cease to amaze us.
Wow. Yeah, so there's a little more data for you. Okay, so for those of you who like the data, which I love too. Okay, so what questions do we have, comments on this? So back to the map now. So we understand the waters, right? Yeah? Good.
Yeah. So somebody said the 2 colored waters are incredible. I wonder what light codes are there in frequencies.
It's like 4 secret directions, but then they go 36 forms, 36 ways of the meridians that then enter the 9. My husky's at my window. Okay. So handsome. Okay, so let's see. All right. So back to the map. All right, guys, this is so big. All right, so here we go. Okay. All right, so we're not probably going to be able to cover all of these. We'll cover this in part 3 to this series. Can you see it good? Yeah?
Yeah, you can see it now.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, neighbor.
That's my husband's son. So he doesn't have an accent like that. He has a Chicago accent. Okay, so yeah, so we'll be covering this, but to go here is gonna take some probably next video, because I want to get to what we have written here and then what I want to share with you about the Earth and how it's constructed more. Okay, so let's see what else here. All right, so I wonder which one of these is Greenland, huh, you all? Let's see, which one do we think it might be Greenland?
Would it be the one that's not completed? You see how there's 3 of them
This
that
one
have
here?
completed lands, and then the one that's not completed
I agree.
boundary?
Yeah, so let's pull
Or can
out.
be seen?
Let's
Yeah,
pull
maybe
out.
it can be
So
seen.
Let's say Cape Paris. This says, so this could be Greenland. No, this is Greenland. Oh, you see, this is Greenland. Thank goodness they keep the names for the most the same. Okay, so this is Greenland. And then, is Greenland the farthest one north that they allow us in? It is.
Yes.
So Greenland is not quite North Pole, but look it's across the street from it. It's over the pond, right? And then we have, look at all these different islands. What is going on here? Look at that. Okay. So all these other ones are cloaked. All right, so let's see. We read that. Let's start off with this one here, closest to Greenland. So what this says is this channel has 3 mouths as entryways, and it remains frozen for about 3 months each year. It has a latitude of 37 degrees. All right, I'm gonna teach you guys about the latitude in a bit. Okay, so latitude of 37 degrees. And what does that even mean, right? For those of us who are not sailors or whatever, work the Marines and stuff. Okay. 3 mouths are, so this channel has 3 mouths as entryways, and it remains frozen for 3 months. 3 mouths. Seeing those as portals. So that has 3 portals, entryways, and then it freezes up for 3 months. Okay, let's keep going here. So next one here says, this island is the best and healthiest of the whole northern region. So it's got some nice greenery there. We'll look here and these islands around them too. According to Mercator's 1569 world map, the inhabitants of Grusient are Swedes or by origin. These mysterious island, which does not appear on the legendary Zeno map, is possibly Baffin Island, which was sighted in 1576 by Englishman Martin. What happens if we click here? Let's see. Oh, it takes you to a map. What? Yeah, this is a cool website. Okay, so it feels that it's that one. So once maps began to depict Greenland for the first time in 1427, there was a little consensus. So this is an island next to Greenland. There was a little so is that an actual island now listed, Gina? Spelled Grokland, G-R-O, yes, right there. Its positioning, name, size, or relationship with the rest of Europe from this confusion, Grokland appeared on Mercator's famous 1569 map, which labels the Isles of the Grokland, the inhabitants of which are Swedes by origin. So basically, seems like Sweden, no? Or Sweden people? That would be the translation, closest translation to what they're talking about there. And then we have this map here. Okay. I think it's be this one, huh? Yeah. Right here. It's next to Greenland. So is there an island there that named that next to Greenland? If not, it's cloaked.
I think it's cloaked because every time I try to pull up something, it keeps going to Graceland, or it's not wanting to show it on other maps.
Yeah. Okay. So it's cloaked. Ooh.
And then somebody mentioned that it could be an island called Baffin Island, close to Canada.
Can you look at that? Let me know. Okay. So back to this map. All right. So we're there. We'll go. We'll do clockwise. Okay. So that's that one. But before we move on from this section, let's look and see. So this is Greenland now. Let's look at Greenland. What does it say for Greenland? The Zeno account of Greenland describes a remarkable city called Alba, where there was a cloister and a church dedicated to St. Thomas at the base of a volcano. Now we know that the saints were not, they were basically called saints because they were giants. We've talked about this in previous series where we go to museums and they're saints, and in the actual paintings of them, they're way bigger, gigantic in comparison to the smaller people. So they were giants. By means of pipes, hot water from a spring was conducted into the chambers of the building as well as the garden, thus yielding the most delightful fruits and flowers. Is that still there? I'm gonna ask you, Gina, try to keep up with me if you can. I know it's a lot. So
Yeah.
what is Alba and St. Thomas? Zeno.
Okay.
Is that still there?
Okay, I'll look that one up. It looks like the Baffin Island the person was talking about in
Yeah.
Canada. It could be that one, but do you see how on the map
Yeah.
the shape of it curves up towards the North Pole?
Yeah.
Well, Baffin Island is pretty big like that, but it curves in towards Canada instead.
Huh. What do the people look like there?
I don't think a lot of people live there. It's really like a more natural, very cold, but with really, really clear water, it looks like. It's pretty big though. They're called, well, they're mostly indigenous to the Inuits.
I just keep seeing these, I don't know if you guys are seeing them too. Tall woman. Like the Amazonians there. Yeah. They're there for sure. I see them. I see a lot of gold. All right, we'll keep going here and let me know if there is that one. So this is Skrellingers. So this was the medieval Norse term for the native people of Greenland and the Arctic. The word is believed to derive from a word from skin, perhaps inspired by the native people, characteristic and animal skin clothing. It has also been suggested that Skrelling was a Norse translation of Pidgums, a term known to educated Norsemen from the reading of classical writers, particularly Pliny the Elder's natural history. Besides conveying a small stature, the expression connoted inferiority, I can't say it, such as feebleness and demonstrable, otherness. Like everyone else at the time, the Norse considered themselves the desirable standard by which to judge other people. Ponder on that. And then there's this little island next to it, referred to in the 1548 by the Hieronymus Gorment as a lofty mountain, of a summit of which a sea mark was set by two pirates, Pinnicht and Pothorst, to warn seamen against Greenland. Okay, cool. So we got some really kind of cool history there. Frobisher Strait. Frobisher was the first Englishman to set off in search of the Northwest Passage. Yeah, wow. With the backing of the Muscovy Company, Frobisher ventured north 3 times between 1576 and 1578. His discovery of Frobisher Strait, now Bay, into Baffin Island in 1576 was believed to be the entrance of the Northwest Passage. Cartographers mistakenly placed the strait through the south of Greenland, with the mislocation persisting for 2 more centuries. So it seems like there's a passageway, and it looks like from Greenland you could basically, there it is, there's a passageway, right? So you enter in through here, these waters, you could sail there in to the North Pole. What's that? We can click that. And there's an old map for it. So yeah, so this is the strait dissecting southern Greenland. It started appearing in 1576. Northwest Passage. Can we zoom out of this? Where is that?
And then Aurora, the people, the Inuit people, they kind of look very indigenous, and they do have some skins, but they also have some colorful garments as well. And then in Greenland, Alba is still there. There's villages of people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is up here.
And then somebody said that Alba also has connections to the Scottish king in the ancient times. There was a kingdom called the Kingdom of Alba. Also, Great Britain was known once as Albion.
Okay, thank you. Close that and back to this. Okay. So there's some history in Greenland. We did that one. Let's see what else here. Sanderson's Hope in 1587. John Davis reached a high latitude of 72 degrees to 12 north along the west coast of Greenland, naming a 1,042 high mountain Sanderson's Hope after this sponsor. So these are some of the ones that we know of. It seems like they can't quite reach it though, huh? They're having a hard time, even though they're really close here, like Greenland is. They are having some kind of field pushing them back, or the water's pushing them back, so quite dangerous. And again, it's for the own protection of the portal, the universal portal here. Okay, so let's keep going here. We're gonna go next here. And so this would be where would it be? It would be above America? Yeah, above Canada, America. Okay, so let's see what's right above us there. The ocean is broken up in 19 mouths, with islands between them, making 4 channels, or canals, or channels of water, right? Through these, the ocean is carried unceasingly underneath the northern region. It's interesting enough. Did you know that there's currents inside the ocean? Like, okay, there's currents within currents of the ocean. So you could be, like Lake Michigan, it actually has very powerful currents. You have to be very cautious. If one of those currents catch you, they'll pull you in and you won't be able to come back. Okay? So there are energy forces of currents, like back and forth. And this is what this is talking about here, like these it says here, to 12 months. Okay, so then it's connected to this. These currents reach all the way to Lake Michigan. It's broken up to 12 miles with islands between them, making 4 channels. Through these, the ocean is carried unceasingly underneath with the northern region. So there's currents that are pulling you into the north. And Lake Michigan is completely fogged up. I flew over it before and they have it fogged up on purpose. They don't want you to see what's there. Okay. So through these, ocean is carried uneasily underneath the northern region, and it is absorbed into the bowels of the earth. Whoa. So here we go. This explains what we were just talking about. The rocky landmass underneath the pole has a circumference of about 33 leagues. Landmass underneath the pole has a circumference of about 33 leagues. Okay, so here, so then there is again further explaining how the waters pull you into the North Pole. 32 degrees. Let's keep reading here. The next one here, it says, in the northern parts of Bargu, there are islands, says Marco Polo, the Venetian book 1, chapter 51, which lies so far north that the Arctic pole seems to be south of them. Which lies so far north that the Arctic pole seems to be south of them. What? The northern parts of Bargu, there are islands, says Marco Polo. Okay, which lies so far north that the Arctic pole seems to be south. Oh, okay, the Arctic pole. Okay, the Arctic pole. So basically, these islands are really close to the Arctic pole. Got it. Okay. Okay. And what's this one here? So then this is up here. What is this? It's just like, it feels like right here. This is supposed to be America. These waters, these lakes here in Canada. yeah, directly being linked in here. They pull you in, tides pull you in here to the north. Wow, it's incredible that even in the Lake Michigan, you could feel that current pulling you magnetically into the North Pole. Wow. Okay, here, so magnetic North Pole. Although many believe that the rock at the North Pole to be magnetic, Mercator preferred to place a magnetic rock near the Strait of Anian in an attempt to explain magnetic variation. Two poles are opposed. Yeah, correct. I mean, yeah, they are opposed. Talked about that. Two poles are proposed. Oh no, wait, two poles are proposed, but they are technically opposed though. The first with respect to a meridian through the Cape Verde Islands, and an alternative pole with respect to a meridian through the island of Corfu, Azores. And then we have Asia here. All right. And then we're looking at this Paris, Asia. Yeah, Paris, Asia. So here we are. This is those of you over there in Asia, and then England. This is what you're across from here. So look into your lakes and what. So I read that one already? Yeah. So here was this. Oceanus Scythochus, also referred to as Mar Glacial Mar Tabin. It is now called the Kara Sea. Okay. Look into that, guys. Kara Sea. Is there a video on that, Gina? Can you send me on TikTok if there is a video on Kara Sea? Okay, and then we have this strait has 5 miles, and because of the narrowness and speed of the rivers, it is never frozen. So the water's completely flowing out of there, not ever being frozen. 5 mouths. So like they're like whirlpools, 5 portals there. So look at that. Think about that. Like if you were on boat, could you get to the North Pole? Wow, I don't know. Because you have all these mouths, as they call them, that are pulling you in. It's crazy. And what's this? This is across, looks like England area. It's called Nova Zembla. The Dutch explorer, Willem Barents discovered Novaya Zemlya in 1954 during the first of 3 attempts to find the Northeast Passage. On his 3rd voyage, Barents managed to navigate further around the northern tip, but heavy sea ice conditions led to their ship becoming stuck. Barents and his crew were forced to overwinter here, where they built a lodge they called Het Behouden Huis, the saved house. The redrawn coastline of this island in this 1968 edition reflects these discoveries. You see that? Again, Voyagers trying to get there, but they got trapped there. Here. So is this island still there? The Nova Zembla? Zovan. Did you get to see that? Nova Zembla.
So I think that might be Nova Scotia, but I'm double checking that. But the Kara Sea, I sent you videos on what the water looks like there, and there's some ice, and it looks like it bubbles up a different type of water around it.
Okay, and that was this one, right?
The Kara Sea.
Oh, Kara Sea, where is that? I'm trying to remember where that was at. This is the Nova. Why can't I find the Kara Sea anymore? Did it disappear? Okay. Where did I read Kara Sea at? Ooh, do you guys feel that? The earth is shifting right now. Everything's spinning.
The Kara Sea was over we had the Oceanus. Then there was one of the points Oceanus to the upper right ocean.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. Whew. You guys are feeling that. You can feel that as we're transmitting this. The earth is shaking inside. The dragon eggs. Okay. There's the Karasi. Okay, you sent me a video. Let me check that out. TikTok?
And then the Novia Zimlia is still there.
Yeah.
It is still
It's
there.
called Nova something. Nova, you said?
Novia Zimlia.
Okay.
It's close to Russia.
Okay. So is it just this one here? This video here? That one, right?
Yeah, that shows the ice in the water there.
Okay, so then this is that Tara. Let's see. Oh, just switched
Yes,
out.
the Kara Sea.
Karasi, yes.
Mhm.
Karasi.
And then the video above that is a map showing a spot in the Kara Sea that's black that they can't explain.
Oh, really? Oh, look at that. How thick it is. It is frozen, but that's interesting. Wow. So we got Karasi. Okay, let's go to that other one you sent me. This one here. Oh goodness, that's loud. I'm trying to mute it. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, this is the black spot. Okay, let's do that again. I think it showed at the beginning, the black spot. Oh,
Yeah, it showed the black spot, and I think they're trying to zoom in and figure out what's going on there because you can't really tell what it is. So they're trying to figure out what's actually there.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So stop that for a minute. Okay. Okay. What are you guys thinking? This is just so incredible. Like understanding the earth like this is just a whole nother level. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Lots of questions and comments there. How are we doing so far? Questions, comments?
Yeah, there's several comments and questions there. Somebody was saying, well, the river that never freezes should be the Gulf Stream, is what they're thinking.
You know what's so interesting is that these, it's like, okay, so then the rivers, right? So we know that they're the freshwater, right? That gives us life. But it's incredible how they're being fed here. So they're coming in here and then they stay separated and they somehow reach us. They keep the density separate from the ocean. And here, say Americas here, this is probably feeding into Lake Michigan here, looks like. Wow, it's just like the system is just like wow to me. How they could be waters, but they're not mixing just to give us life. It's just quite incredible. And it's like, it's mother's water, right? So we're looking at mother's water is the water that gives us life force, the fresh water, and we're looking at the salt water is more like the universal, again, a multiversal water. It's just amazing. Okay. Questions, comments?
Yeah, that is incredible. Are the stone circles found under Lake Michigan also connected to the North Pole like passageways?
Yes, they are. They say that there's even like Bermuda Triangles there and, all these different mysteries that we don't know about. And I do feel like there were civilizations there that were connected and living there in Lake Michigan, connecting to this current. I do feel that at some point in time space, there was a current that you could ride actually from Lake Michigan straight to the North Pole. And again, that's why they keep it fogged up, right? Okay. All right, so then we're there. What's the next one? Do we read this one? Okay, so Willoughby's land, again, this is right above England area. So during the 1533 voyage across the Barents Sea, English explorer reported islands to the north, while these two islands were neither mirage or a real sighting of Novaya Zemlya. They were subsequently depicted and named Willoughby's Land and Maxnuff Island in the 16th century. So yeah, cool. And then we have this one, which is called Tiniolant. Not long after Mercator first published a map in 1595, Dutch explorer Willem Barents discovered Bergend in 1596. Hondius, who subsequently acquired the plates, erased part of the Arctic land mass to make way for a depiction of Spitsbergen in 1628 edition. And then we come across this one, which is directly across from England. Here live the pygmies, at most 4 feet tall, who were like these called Skraelings in Greenland. Skraelings in Greenland, what is that? Let me look that up. Are these some kind of like magical people or creatures or something? Let me look up what that is. It seems like a different type of humanoid or something like that. What are pygmies? Let me look that up and let you guys know. Let's see. Yeah, so they were just basically reported to be really short. Oh, okay. I just feel like, wow, this is an ancient people.
Aurora, what I'm seeing on it is saying that it's the name of Norse Greenlanders used for the peoples they encountered in North America and Greenland. And they said it first applied to the Thule people, Thule, a Proto-Inuit group with whom the Norse existed or coexisted in Greenland with about the 13th century. And then in the stories or the sagas that they have for the people, the land was known as Vinland, and the Norse encountered those people in the early 18th century as well. I mean, 11th century, excuse me, 11th century. So they're an old people.
Yeah, ancient. So then these people are in the North Pole, because that's what the map says. But then they're also found in other parts, like you said. Okay. What was the other thing that they said here? Like those called Skraelings in Greenland? What is
Yeah,
that?
that's what the Skraelings were, what I just read.
What you just said. Got it. Okay. So then again, with the whole kind of Lord of the Rings, all these different size people existed on Earth, of course. Okay. All right. Let's zoom in. Let's look at the Zion people, yeah? All right. So, okay, we understand now a bit what's around them. And I feel like they have a message. You want to talk to them? You want to talk to them in the magnetic mountain here, y'all? Yeah?
Let's talk to them. That'd be incredible.
Okay, let me see. What's going on here? Ooh, wee! That energy just amped up. Let me see. Again, only source of light is allowed within the space. This entire transmission, only source of light, only love and benevolence is allowed to communicate as always. So then we have, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll channel them for a bit, and then we'll see. We don't know how these videos are gonna go. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let me take some deep breaths here. I have a Murray quartz crystal here. All right. Oh, let me stop sharing that. Okay, but this is where we're at, right here. Okay, I see the vision right now. I see them. Okay, okay. Now this is gonna be even cooler when we read his diary, so you can understand how he got there. We're gonna try to get to that next. And I still gotta talk about so much. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Okay, I can see I'm there. I'm remote viewing, hovering in bird's eye point of view. I see the mountain, and there is a mist. The mist is not man-made. The mist is organic. It's like steam, you know, when you heat up water. It's like there's, interesting enough, right? We got the cold, but then we got heat, warmness. It is warmer right at the north of the mountain. It's not like warm like summer. It's a different kind of warmness that we cannot explain. It's not really registered in Fahrenheit. So there's steam coming out like there is. You could say it's like it's a volcano. So what really are volcanoes? Volcanoes are so we know that there were tree trunks, right? They're giant tree trunks now, but why do they have lava coming out of them? This magnetic field definitely has lava under it. I see it, which is making the steam. But then the steam is the essence of Creator, of Divine Mother and Father. So I just got angel bomb. So the steam is the essence of Source, but we cannot see it in physical form in our construct. So that's how we see it, through steam or clouds or mist. Mist, when you go to the clouds, right? They have mist. It's the mist is the actual gods or goddesses or Divine Mother or Father, like their essence. You're going through their essence, the stem. Okay, the mist. Got that. All right. So what else? Okay. Force field. Even though it was cut off, there's still force field coming out. Powerful force field. Feel like I see like fields of. Okay, so it's the center of the toroidal, right? The donut, the hole. That's the North Pole. But then I feel like then we have more toroidals towards the Antarctica. Okay, we're zooming in, getting past the clouds and the mist. We're gonna zoom in. See what's happening there. I see, wow. Ooh. These gigantic, we would call them titans. They're because they're almost as big as the mountain or the big trunk. They're like half of the size. So they're guarding, they're standing there with like this energetic armor with like even like swords and like spheres, guarding the space. Not that anyone can get to it, but they still are there guarding because we guard different portals on Earth. We also, I would recommend for you to watch the Avalon video, because we gave the messages of the universal portal and then what's happening on Earth, and the eggs, the dragon eggs and the phoenix eggs. Cultivating, getting ready for the initial hatching. Some have already hatched, but that's what they're doing. They're guarding the space because the universal portal is beginning to open. Wow. Hold on, I see Adama there. Hold on, let me talk to him. Familiar with him. Adama's pretty tall. He's not as tall as these, because these are like titans, like how we see in pictures or on like Tartarian buildings, how you see like these giant titans and then you see like giant, big, and then you see us smaller. So it's like he's like in between the size like 1/3 of the size of the giants guarding, the titans guarding the mountain. There's 16 of them. 16. Wow. Winjabam 16, Council of 16. They're guarding the 16 sacred directions that we talk about in the maps. So maps that we see, sacred winds, the 16 winds, because there's not just 4, there's also 16 or even 8. 16. When you use the number 16, you get all, like all time space, all directions. But then we now saw the 36. It's another form of the 16. What's 16 plus 16?
32.
32. That's 5. Okay. So let's see. There he is. What do you want to tell us, Adama? He says that this is where he's been communicating from this whole time. From the hollow, the you know how they say Earth is hollow. Okay. And he says that this is where. Let me just let him talk. Hold on. Greetings. I am Adara. 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 I am Adara. I am Adara. I am Adara. It is such an honor to be here with you today. You know me as Adama, but it's Adara. Whoa. That was Aurora. That wasn't me. She just saw the amount of ships. Oh my goodness. Okay. Adara. Yes, we're looking at the infinite amount of starships that Aurora is getting it. You all are getting it. You're listening and you're really doing really good. So the Pacific Ocean, yes, we are able to hide there a lot, but as you've seen us, we're in oceans, we're in rivers, we're even in lakes now. It's just all we need is the water when we portal in. There is a can we say this? There is can we say this? Is it time? It's fine? Okay. Yeah, they can't reach it. Okay. So there is inner earth opening here that leads to the Pacific, and then it also leads to the lands that you saw there, leading by when she showed you the moon picture, and you saw how all those vast lands. Okay, there's portals, there's mouths here in the Pacific that lead you there, and these mouths pull you into different parts all over. Again, we're going to keep using the visualization of the moon reflection of your earth. They pull you into other portals. Now you do have to be a vibratory match, but that's how we travel back and forth. Now, well, that's how we used to really travel, just because we couldn't really travel through the water because it was third dimensional water. It wasn't fourth dimensional. Now we can travel in through the waters back and forth. And okay. And then, so I'm standing though, right now, because I knew you all will be talking to us today, because this is the way it works. We telepathically talk with all of you there on Earth. I'm standing here at the edge of this magnetic mountain with the rest of Agarthian beings we've made a pit stop. Just really call it pit stop here as we're traveling to talk to you. Okay. Wow. So you see this behind me? Okay, see this? You see the color? Do you see how it's gold? It's gold, but then do you see how this has been? So this is where the Aurora Borealis has been coming out from all this time. It's aura that's been coming out of the tree, the giant tree. It's the aura, and then the heart inside into. There is so once you go into the universal portal, there's a crystal, which is God crystal, but it's Divine Mother's heart crystal, which no one can get to that, because at that point, one, you have to be vibratory mesh to go through the universal portal, which you're going to be ascending out at that point. So then, yeah. So then the heart is there. So then the essence comes out of the tree and blossoms it out, just like your cherry blossoms it out. So does this aurora borealis blossom out. Not CERN. Good, ridiculous. So then let me see where we're going here. Okay, so then, so there's it's more like the aurora borealis changes in colors as the color of this crystal. You ever seen a crystal or has a fluorite like that changes colors when you look at it? So that's what you can visualize. This one at the inside the magnetic mountain inside the portal changes in colors. So then she'll emanate whatever color she's looking at. I would suggest if you want to keep track of the aurora borealis and what's coming out of this area, it tells you like what the crystal was vibrating to that day, and that energy is going to be fed into. So majority you would see the green and the purple. The green was heart activation, purple was transmutation. Okay, so we're standing among that right now. As Aurora is watching us, we're standing, and the aurora borealis is just going through us like a mist would. So powerful. Okay, and it's reaching to you. It's reaching. It's crystal. It's stardust. It's crystal dust. Crystal dust travels to you. Energy, plasma, crystal dust, plasmic. Okay. Looking at, so the direction we're facing is we're facing the Pacific Ocean. We're on that side of the mountain, facing that way, which is mostly Antarctica areas here. The grander part of Antarctica. So when you're at the edge of the moon, how we showed you in part 1, there's no more because you're at the end, right? You're at the end of the moon, at the edge, say at the edge of the moon, there's Pacific Ocean, right? There's all these lands, right? But down on the opposite side, there's lands, but not a grand amount of lands like how it is here. Okay. And it's because it's the end of your third dimension. It's like a plane of existence. You are factually in a plane of existence. In order for you to be multiversal, it's just the way it works. I mean, to be the multiverse in a existence, you have to be a plane of existence with all these teachings. You know, the elites, they know about astrology, and they know that the only way that they can really read their astrology is if they use a flat earth map, because that's just the way it is. But it's a plane of existence. Okay, you are in a plane of existence. Okay, so this is the next plane of existence, facing out to the Pacific Ocean. Is the next one. It's the future. The future. This is the future Earth. Ooh. The future Earth. Okay. The big lands there. And that's why you see the reflection of the moon. And this is why also Aurora has taught you that the moon represents the future Earth. So we're looking at different forms here. You're looking at your side is more of the carbon base. There's still more carbon, but it's a future parallel existence of you where you're working in a fourth dimensional physical form. You are not so much third dimension. So you're starting to transition, and then out at the very tip of the mountain where there was a big portal there, that's ascension. That's out, like that's the sixth dimension. So you're looking at the moon's reflection, third dimension, fourth dimension, then finally in between the fourth and the sixth, you're looking at the fifth there in that water there, and then you're at the sixth, you're out into ascension, universal, multiversal ascension. So this direction is very important. I want to tell you that the water, the sun and the sun and the moon, they travel now. They travel through the waters. They can portal out, in and out like us too. It really, yeah. They go around in circles. They could also go back and forth. it's hard to explain. But they basically, since time does not exist, they can bifurcate in 2 different locations even. Yeah, through the water. Okay. I'm showing Aurora. So then we have these ships that are made out of Merkabahs. They look like stars, and then they don't just stay in. They could be multiple points depending on which direction we need to go. They could be 4-pointed, mostly though 8-pointed, 12-pointed, 16 pointed, and then even up to the 36 points that was shown on the map. Our Merkabahs can turn into, and this force field come out of us. So we're looking. I can see, showing Aurora now, like there's these infinite, it's countless, like the stars, ships that she showed in the ocean. They're countless, and then that they can shape forms. And that basically, I'm showing Aurora now that the Merkabah comes out of my heart here, and I am the Merkabah. So we're able to retain. We have to recharge at the core of Earth to recharge. Now that we're traveling to your lower density 3rd dimension, but 4th dimension with the water, we do have to recharge here. So we come from time to time to recharge our energy because we're traveling more. You understand? Okay. So we need that energy there because we do get, say, a bit drained when we go down to the lower density. It's kind of like if you're talking to someone who is lower density, and then you get kind of exhausted afterwards. That's how we can kind of feel, just as an example analogy. But I mean, we're fine. We just need a recharging. Let's see. But we also do, of course, recharge with the sun and the moon, the stars. Which is just that our mission has gotten grander and bigger here. Now that we're both the Zion Mountains and you are able to communicate back and forth, it is big. And so it takes more of us, more of our energy to it takes a lot of us we've been preparing for this. We haven't been able to say necessarily come to you as much as we wanted to. From time to time, you might see us in the skies. Or we were more like, there is so in the firmament, there is a field in the blanket. So when you look at the stars, you go all the way to the tip, and almost, so basically the firmament crystalline energy is a crystal and it has all the crystals in it. And this blanket has all the stars in it. This blanket has the stars in it. So we had to be all the way up there by the stars. And why you would see us, it'd be like so far, tiny little dot when you're UFO, watching the benevolent ships, that is. We had to be as high as the stars even, or in among the stars, because we were traveling in that blanket, that plasma blanket at the top. So now we don't have to do that. You understand? So as it is above in the skies, as it is below in the ocean. So they are mirroring each other. And so then I want you to understand that the 16 winds, or the 36 winds directions, are now carrying the codes of 4th dimension. The wind has now up leveled. Understand, the winds are 4th dimensional, which allow us to portal in. And this is also you lifting closer to us. Those of you who are astrologists, you know the stars have gotten closer, especially if you've been paying attention and you've been watching Aurora's channel. She's been showing you how we level up closer. So then why the airplanes have less amount of space to fly in is because you've come closer, raising vibration in decimals, and then this blanket is now closer to you. And this is your golden, you had an aura regression that Aurora shared, the golden dome, golden energy around you. This is that field. And so then that plasma energy, we're able to travel in, and then it's like you can visualize like 2 currents, like the ocean, like Aurora was speaking about. There's the apologies. So then there's a current here, which is fifth, sixth dimensional, up here and all the way at the top of the crystalline firmament, as Yeshua talked about. It's up here, and then there's another current. So then it's like you're seeing two different forms. So yes, when you get closer to the North Pole, you're at a fifth, sixth dimensional state. But also when you get closer to the sky at the top, you're at a fifth, sixth dimensional state. And you know why they can't get through it. It's a force field that they just can't penetrate because they're not a matching vibration to us. It's just not possible. So then it's closer and thicker, this blanket, and it allows us to come in and out of it and closer to you, and then we recharge. And then we could also go to the North Pole recharge, or we could go in the water recharge. So we really, really are among you. It is quite incredible. Aura teaches Isis Priestess course, and she teaches the inner earth symbol is a very powerful symbol you want to be using to portal in these crystalline energies of us who are benevolent, fifth dimensional beings, the view of the past. Or again, has the Mayan Atlantean series. You can watch on that to understand who we are as the inner earth. Okay, so what questions do you have for me?
Wow, that's really incredible. Thank you for being here, Adara. There's questions that were to be answered for later for Aurora, but I don't know if there's anything that you would like to answer or anything else you would like to speak about.
Yes, I know. You all were listening very much. So write your questions now, and let me see what else I could talk about. Let's see if you have any other questions before we bring it back to Aurora. Okay, so let's see. The crystals are so important right now. I want you to understand the power to the crystals. Now, again, Aurora did the course on the crystals, which is detailed to what I'm going to explain, but I want you to understand that the reason why you're a multiverse is because the crystals, okay, so the crystals come from different parts of the earth, correct? So then these crystals, am I dark? Okay, thank you. Back to Adama. Okay, so the crystals are all over the earth, different pieces. And even understand that some of these crystals are not, say, indigenous to the land that they are found. I want you to understand that some of them are coming in from the Zion mountain because the current's taking them and they're placing them right there for you. So the elements interact with one another, the wind, the water, and they take them here to a spot where the crystal tells them to. The crystal talks to, of course, the water and the wind. So then they're carried there. When they're found, it's because they're meant to be found. So then all the crystals, the best way that you connect to the whole entire earth is to know that every crystal in your home connects to every part of that land. So you can't obviously get to every single cave, even every single underwater cave where these mysterious crystals came out from, or get to every single, cavern and land, right? You can't. It's too vast. The lands are too vast. So the way that you get to them is through your crystals. Understand? So when you hold that crystal, I want you to understand that you're touching and connecting to that part of the land. And then even grander than that, where did those crystals come from initially? They are crystals and pieces of the hearts of the planets, the infinite planets of the universe. And where did those come from? The infinite power of the multiverse, because one crystal is even a multiversal. They're pieces of these planets. So understand that that's what's so incredible, these crystals, and why you love to have them, is because they connect you to the earth, the universe, and the multiverse. And that because they're shards and pieces of the universe and multiverse. Does that make sense? Questions?
Yes, that's incredible. So by the crystals, does the amber found in the Northern Sea come from the Zion tree?
Yes, absolutely. Woo! Yes. Aurora's wearing an amber ring today. She found it. She's had this since she was a teenager. Stop focusing.
Oh yeah, that's incredible. And we know that amber comes from the trees, so that's incredible.
Yeah. Low battery. Hold on. Okay. Oh, thank goodness I didn't turn off. Okay, go ahead. All right. Back. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Adama. Adora. Is there any particular crystal we can connect to at this time?
So Aurora has channeled this. The amber is very important because it is the resin of the tree. So it's the resin of the tree of life, of Zion. So it is the life force of the tree of life that has crystallized for you to hold, to remind you of your heart, because you've forgotten of your heart. And then you said, what was your question about crystals?
Oh, you're gonna make me cry with that answer. Then, thank you. It's so beautiful to activate us and our memories and to connect into that beautiful heart. Thank you for that.
Yes, and then Aurora has right her ruby, Ethiopian fire opal, which are all these little tiny beads are fire, little source flames. Every one, and then we got the amber. So you got quite a magnificent piece here. And then the heart is ruby of earth, this earth. But every earth has a different color heart though. Continue.
Yes, and at this time, is there any particular crystals we should be connecting to or that we can connect to?
The rubies. Amber and ruby. They're the leaders right now of this energy field coming out of Zion. Which eventually you're going to see more red aurora borealis. Not time yet, but you did get to see it in the May 13. Yeah, some areas got the red. Incredible, huh? So that told me that the red flame within Earth and the Zion tree had activated, had opened up. Because you've never seen red before that, aurora borealis, no.
Yeah, that was incredible to see that. And with that, activating that red flame and that connection to Divine Mother, is there anything with the red flame or any other activations at this time that you can share?
There's nothing scary about red. It's just that the dark Illuminati, Freemasons, have used the color red to invert because they know the red creates its life force. That blood that runs through you turns into red. When it's life, when it comes out of your body, it's blue, but when it comes out, right, it turns red. Because it's the amber in you, you understand? It's the amber that has crystallized and come out of you. Like how the amber comes out of the tree and becomes crystallized. So it reminds you that you have both mother and father, blue the father, red the life force that emanates out from you when you bleed. And it's also reminds you how you are infinite and constant rebirthing. So connect to the red. It is safe to connect to the red. Unfortunately, like Santeria and like these other voodoo, they use the red invertedly. Don't worry about that. That they are overstepping boundaries that they shouldn't be as far as karmic laws and so on, and that's their own karma that they'll have to figure out. They might not even be able to send out when they're using blood rituals like that. But you just think about you and how you can use the color red and know that there's a red flame here awaiting to awaken within you. Your heart should look like multicolor flames. Has your red awakened, or are you still scared of it? When you connect and activate this red flame in you of the ruby heart at the center of the Zion tree, at that point you've reached the highest level that you can as far as infinite love in connection to your higher self, and then just both individually for self-love and also collective. So it's a level that is assists you to connect to the all in vibration and frequency and listen to everything, hear everything, know everything. It's just connecting to your God self, your higher self. And then if you connect to the ruby flame in your heart and connect then to the one at the center, then you're connected to, when you connect to yours, you're connected to the Zion one. And then, of course, then the universe and the multiversal self of you that is in alignment more than ever. These eternal flames are waking up. There used to be, Aurora has talked to you about in some of the maps that she showed in the Antarctica Tartaria series, there used to be like sacred temples, and you see them in your movies where there was like a temple and then there was a flame, this eternal flame. The eternal flames were actual, real, and they were in different temples, and they were all different colors. And what I'm showing Aurora is like in these different islands that are unknown to you, especially in the North Pole, these flames have awakened in places where man can't reach, and they're just awakened right now. Like, you know, when you have your flame and it's small, that's where it's at right now. That they've birthed out. They're there plasmically now, because of all the evolution you've been going through, especially the fourth dimensional waters that happen. So they're creating a circle. And they also could be connected to the Ring of Fire, because the Ring of Fire is around Hawaii, and it's basically the Pacific Ocean that we talked about, right? Okay, that's where we're at. So then we have Rings of Fire volcanoes, which are also connected to these eternal flames that are preparing the collective for future ascension, either individually or collective. Continue with your questions.
Yeah, that perfectly leads us into the next question, which is, do the recent active volcanoes also activate this red energy of the Zion tree?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My apologies. Mother Pele and other goddesses, they had that flowing red lava. Anything you can share about that?
Oh, that is exciting. Yes. It's big. This is big. I think as humans, like living a human life, you don't realize how big these things are. It's taking who knows how much time, millenniums, for this to happen. This is why you've seen volcanoes erupted and Mother Pele began it. They're doing it. You're down to the Philippines, down to Asia, down to Thailand, they're everywhere. Even Alaska, there's steam coming out of the mountains. They've awakened. And these locations have etherically inside the lava where the bad guys can't reach because they'll melt. They'll like melt. They can't reach it. You know, they'll melt into ashes. Are the dragon and the phoenix eggs that are factually there in crystalline form, that are more, they're physical but not physical. They're physical because they are real, but they're more crystalline. And where you're seeing these is where you can mark, oh, it's so hard for us to share this, where you can mark that they've awakened, the dragon eggs and the phoenix eggs. They've awakened. You understand?
Yes, we understand.
You brought a map, or us as asking you if you could look up if there's a list you can find when you have a minute. You know you're doing a lot of how the volcanoes that have erupted all over Earth.
Yes, I will look that up now.
Okay, so continue with your questions, Adama.
Yes, beautiful. Anything you could share about the activation and the red mercury?
show or the vision. So back, well, answer that in a minute. Back to why we're facing the Pacific that goes into those lands that are the higher lands, all the parallel U's that are higher dimensional. Oh, the fifth dimensional too. It's like the road to ascension beyond Antarctica. There's so much life in this part of the earth that is unknown to you. It's beautiful. Children are running around free. It's like you, but future you. like the future you before you ascend out. You understand? Where there's like no government and children are running around, where there's no people trying to take them or whatever. It's just beautiful. Like that is non-existent there. So it's the planet, the earth, what it was meant to be, the promised land, that's what it is, the promised land of Avalon. It's Avalon. Yes. Continue. You asked about Mercury. What was the question?
Yes. Anything you can share about the activation of the red Mercury, since that's been coming up more recently?
Yeah, so the red Mercury is the closest crystal that can connect to the rubies, besides the rubies, but the ruby at the center of Earth. So then they are, when the tree shattered, the crystals went, they created trees, gigantic trees everywhere they could. But then also they went into the land, shot into the land. So these are pieces of the heart of the ruby. So the different, basically say cousins or like a ruby. And then this is why you can't see the reflection of red Mercury in a mirror, because the mirror is third dimensional. Obviously the red Mercury is 5-6 dimensional, source dimensional higher. So you're not going to see it in physical. It has no physical form. It's not physical. The red Mercury is not toxic, as they say, or it has to say, though she's not a licensed physician. But it is crystalline. It's incredible because, I mean, to you it's physical because you're in physical form, because you can technically touch it or see it. But it's not. It's like crystal energy in liquid crystal energy of the heart of Mother Earth and Source. Continue with your questions.
Yes, that's incredible.
Oh, Aurора's wearing red today.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. She's wearing red today and her red lipstick as well.
Continue.
Somebody had a comment and it said, it does feel like eons to go back to Zion, but the time has come.
Yes. This is really exciting about the series. We want to get as many watching because, wow, just the data and the knowledge that's waiting to be shared to you from Zion. We've just begun. It's incredible. Continue.
Is there anything maybe you'd like to share with us right now? Like you said, the time's for everybody to start kind of connecting back as we go out. You know, we tell people about the series, we want them to kind of watch it, but is there any kind of messages or things we can do to kind of spark people to help them connect? Anything specific, like encouragement wise, or kind of reminding them?
So there is a star. To connect to us, visualize the 36 pointed star under us, under the oceans of the Zion mountain. It's a crystalline star. It's made out of ice crystals. Whew. And it connects to all directions of the lakes that are spread out everywhere. So connect to, visualize a 36 pointed star, or 16 too. We'll get you to that. To connect to us, to connect your energy to the promised land of Zion, which we're the Garden of Eden. The Zion mountain is the Garden of Eden. This tree was so fruitful. You hear through literature, like, you know, different parts of the world had these fruitful trees that are now those trunks, giant trunks, right? That used to give you were able to, just like the Garden of Eden, like it would provide you with fruit and you were able to eat it and give you, that's all you needed. Every now and then, it's like a bite of a fruit, you know? But, so you didn't need food. Just bite of the fruit that gives you the essence of the tree that would keep you alive. You were breatharians, but every now and then you take a bite of the fruit of the trees that were everywhere. Like Monument Valley, the three, those are flowering trees, but they also have fruits coming out of them too. Everywhere, all over Earth, they had giant fruit trees for the people. Continue.
Oh, wow, yes. And thinking of all the stories that they've inverted, with the Garden of Eden and women eating an apple, like the color red, the apple, and the women, they really inverted that. So that's really beautiful, bringing that all back to organic. And then the star that you mentioned, the 36-pointed star, I think that really does kind of connect to people, especially during this time and space as well, knowing the Garden of Eden and seeing all that together.
So we know that you can't reach us, right? But we are reaching you, and we are bringing the Garden Eden to you when you see us and sense us in the starships. Wow.
Thank you. That's incredible.
Seeding in the Zion Eden, Garden of Eden here to you. And so is the water and the wind and all the elements carrying it to you, of course. Continue.
Does connecting with this ice crystal star help us to integrate different fractals of ourselves?
Yes. The 36-pointed star will help you connect to the multiverse. So the multiversal self of you. Continue.
Now that we can connect easier with you beautiful inner earth beings, is there any specific time that we can call on you, or any time that we can say that would be best for us, like when we're walking out in nature or if we're having something going on? What's the best time for us to connect with you all?
I want you to know that at the bottom of every tree, there is this 1636 star too. Because the trees are pieces of the Zion tree. So know that every one of these trees has that at the bottom. You understand? So then through the tree, you can connect to us too, to the Zion tree. Continue.
Yes, beautiful. So we should definitely be hugging more trees for sure.
Sure.
Do you have any more messages that you'd like to share at this time?
I feel I've shared what I needed to share, and we are good. We'll allow Aurora now to speak, to share whatever needs to be shared next.
Can we just ask that, we just talked about connecting to the crystals. Can we just send a wave of love to all the crystals and the Zion tree? Just send them all love. We're so grateful for all of them, and to the elements for bringing them to us. So can we just send that love as well? Thank you.
Let's do that now, all of us together. We over here, and you there. Send love. Thank you. Wow, you all are powerful when you focus on love. For a minute, forget your worries and your stress and just love. Do that every time you feel like a psychic energetic attack or you feel anxiety or stress. Just stop, take deep breaths, and focus on love. If you're working on self-love, at least focus on what else do you love? Who do you love? Animals, your loved ones. Focus on that love until you get to your own self-love. Give yourself a hug, feel that love. Remember to connect to us every time you see that 111, 222, 333, 444. Send that love to the earth. Thank you. Continue on. I'm going to continue on. Do you have any other questions before?
That's all the questions at this time. Thank you so much for being with us. Just everybody's so grateful that you're here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, honor you, and respect you. I am AURORA. I am AURORA. I am AURORA. Thank you. Beautiful. That was a surprise. You know that's gonna happen. That's so cool. Okay. All right. Drink some water. Where do we go from there? Wow, so I could talk about the way navigation works, but I kind of want to, I guess I'll wait for that till next week or next month. Let me see what's next on my list here. I talked about, so we talked about that, Oops.
Oh, there was a question asking about the spaceships, if they can really pass through the firmament.
They're inside the firmament. The positive spaceships, starships portal in through the blanket of the, you understand, through the crystal above us. That's how they come in. So I know we referenced like the 4 rivers and we've been talking about it. Here's a couple of visualizations. We showed this in part 1, but so you could understand it. I mean, it's ancient. They talk about these 4 rivers, and there's seraphim angels here, and the earth, and the fruit trees. Look at that. They have the seed. All these trees have the seed, the fruit. Wow. Beautiful. And then this has to be Divine Father pouring in the waters. And then there's the 4 rivers. Currently, the Upper Mississippi. What's it called? I can see the words. The Lemonites and the Nephites. What's that? What are the 4 rivers called? Yeah, see, and then the reference in Genesis, the Garden of Eden. And a river went out of the Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 leaves, 4 heads. Wow. Okay. This is Illinois. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Okay. And there's the rivers. So there's the North Po, and then the 4 rivers, which are the Ganahan River, Hiddekel River, Euphrates River, and the Pison River. Okay. Looks like I shared all that. Okay, questions, comments? Do you have any other questions that I can answer before we move on to the book? I think I'm going to try to cover something, at least a little bit of the book.
Somebody,
30 minutes, guys.
yes. Somebody asked in relation to all the islands on the map. Somebody said that as a child, the North Pole was referred to as Santa's home. Is this another psychological operation to program children from the beauty and truth of the North Pole? Or is there a degree of truth to the Santa story? For example, the indigenous Sami and Inuit believe magic flying reindeer, and Santa's grotto in the inner earth maybe has elves. Curious.
I think originally it was positive, yes. But then it has been vastly inverted. Correct. So there was a saint, as we saw. So those titans that were standing around the mountain could be the saints, are considered the saints, because they were that tall. So they were there, and they're still there. And it's a way that they feed, as you know, these holidays, they feed their satanic rituals and how they try to keep them powered up, but they're really having a hard time. Especially what marked the point was P. Diddy, Puff Daddy going down marked the point where they're not veiled by their blood rituals anymore. So, but that's how they've done it in the past. Let's see how it changes now. It's this, people are going to start really understanding this, both the parents and the children, like, is there really a Santa there, and so on. I'm not feeding these holidays anymore, like questioning, right? And then we were talking about in one of our, I think it was a live Q&A, that's right, on Patreon, that happened this Sunday, is somebody asked about the question about what are the Easter, right? The resurrection, the Easter means. So it turns out that the reason why they do it is, one, they're doing it in spring equinox time. They're also doing it in springtime period. So that is technically the beginning of the year. So they're doing it at the beginning of the 12, 13 month cycle so that they could use that energy to power up the rest of their satanic rituals. You understand? That necromancy, that, you know, he died and then they brought him back because they would be technically necromancers to bring somebody back from the dead. So the whole understanding is he did not resurrect. He did ascend out. He was still with them, but in crystalline form, you know, in a ascended form, not a, you know, not a human form. They're, you know, he was out of his body already. So then sending love to that and transmuting that, the Ash Sunday and all that, so if more we communicate this to the collective, the more that they cannot use this energy anymore, dark energy. They can't use that energy anymore to power up their satanic rituals. It's going to be like nullified. It's like if they were to do the blood rituals, which they're still going to try to do, like it's not powered up anymore for them. There's no essence in the energy anymore. It's like mother's going to pull out the essence of the blood, and then they can't harvest the soul anymore. You understand? So transmuting the Easter there, because they don't have that anymore. Divine Mother side, they don't have that power. Continue.
And then about the spaceships, somebody said they wanted to know about the man-made spaceships, like the one where they recently had these famous women go into space. Can that rocket ship really go through, or how far can they go?
Hold on 1 minute. Okay. So say that again. The rocket.
Yes, there was recently several famous women who did this rocket, and they wanted to know if those spaceships were able to go into outer space, or what actually was going on with that.
Well, that was all like a movie scene. They didn't really, if they didn't really go up to space. I mean, it's obvious. It's just ridiculous. Everybody can see through it. That's all. Like, it's just gonna be like ridiculous. See, you see what I'm saying? Like in the past, we'd probably be like, "Oh my God, whoa, what Katy Perry went up to? Whoa, no, like that's so incredible." Now we're like, we call it, right? We call it. That's a lie. Because they don't have the blood anymore, the satanic rituals anymore. So they can't veil it and trick us and densify us. You get it? So no, it was all a movie thing. I'm seeing that they were dropped off maybe by like something like an airplaner. Like they were dropped off somehow. But I don't even know if they were actually there. I mean, it's kind of like you're parachuting like that. They were dropped off like that in the sky somewhere, you know? And thank goodness whatever they put them in that was able to sustain the parachute and maintain them in there. Or unless they cut the scene and put them there, that could have been too. It's all a whole movie thing. You know how they do movies? That's what it was. So yeah, no spaceship. No. Where did they come in? What? Where did they go? Where? Just space? It's funny. Continue.
It's funny because really, if they got to space, how would they really get back? I don't know. That was funny.
Yeah, and then that like it's really crappy. It's like bad movie, like, you know, prop. Because I saw the video, right? They were opening it before and it's supposed to be latch, and you know, technically with the oxygen and the nitrogen or whatever is in the air up high, like, you know, you need to have it really sealed or you're not gonna have enough, say, oxygen. There's not enough oxygen all the way up there. You're not gonna be able to breathe. And they just opened it up. Yeah, it's just, you know. They're really bad at it too. This is why they do these mistakes, because they don't have, again, the black magic spells to cloak them, and they do stupid stuff that make themselves look like, I guess, idiots. Continue.
Yeah, it's funny. You talked a little bit earlier about the cold as far as the frozen ice on the poles. But somebody asked, why are the poles so cold? Is it organic or artificial? Is it to keep us out? Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Yes. So it's the water crystallize. Okay, it's crystallized. The way, that's why when you freeze water, it turns into crystals, right? Snowflakes. Snowflakes are crystals. Well, they turn into like these crystalline forms, right? So again, we spoken about at the beginning, basically the water has frozen to protect, to keep the crystalline energy until it's ready to keep melting and warming up. So, did I answer your question? Yeah? Okay.
Yes. And then there's a couple of other questions from last time that you wanted to wait. I don't know if you want to wait to answer after you read parts of the book.
What are some of your questions? Go ahead.
When the ice melts, does it really rise or raise the sea level?
No, it doesn't. That's just facts. You have water with ice cubes in it. It's the same density. So quantum physics. The ice is holding up space. If it melts into water, it's still the same amount of water space. So it never changes in level. You understand? It doesn't, the ice doesn't add more water. Well, it technically is adding more water, but it's taking up the same amount of space, whether it's frozen or liquid. So it's the same level. Test it out. Put ice in water, test it in a glass, see where it's at, and see once it melts, it's going to be the same level. It's just common sense. Continue.
Yep, I think that makes so much sense. So simple, so simple.
It's so simple. So their theories, yeah, are really not making sense. Yeah, continue.
If we're orbiting around the sun millions of miles per hour, how does the ice wall remain intact?
Well, we're not doing that. We're floating on water, just like the indigenous Turtle Island, whatever you want to call it. We're floating on water. We're not orbiting. The Earth and the sky are orbiting around us. They move while we're floating, and they move around us. Astrology, you see them, right? The star Polaris. You look at the stars, they make spirals above us when they move at night. Continue.
What connection does the equator have to Antarctica?
That we're going to save because I need to talk about the latitude and the equator later, which I'm not going to get to cover this time, but I'll cover it next time. Science on that. Continue.
And that is all of the questions for right now.
Okay, awesome. So let's see if I could get to some of this. What page were we on? Do you remember?
Page 16.
16, okay. 16. 16 directions. There you go. Okay, 16 pointed star. So did we finish 16 or did we?
You were talking about large quantities of ivory being dug out of the ground from the mammoths and the narwhals.
Yes, so in case you're watching this on our channels, this is the North Pole and the Inner Earth Chronicles. We've covered up to page 16 in part 1. It was deep. A couple hours just like we're here now. And it's called The Smoky God and the Voyage of the Inner World and the Secret Diary of Richard E. Byrd. One of them was a pilot, one of them was a sailor that went to the North Pole. And then there's also some that reached Antarctica, but we're talking about the North Pole in this transmission. That's right, we talked about that. Okay, so we're on page 17. So we'll be here for another 15 minutes. So page 17, part 2. Olaf Jensen's story. Olaf Jensen is the son to his father, and his father Jensen, I don't remember his first name, but Olaf was the son, and both of the father and the son traveled on that boat that I was talking about at the beginning. They traveled, got to North America. They somehow did again. They really had divine help to get there. And then that's when they talked to the Agarthians, these giant beings there that were incredible. So we're kind of at the part. So I don't know what part we're at. So we're at the part. Okay. So at some point they reach and they interact with the Inner Earth Guardians for some time. Okay, so let's see. We're on page 17. So this is part 2 of Olaf Jensen's story. So he says, "My name is Olaf Jensen. I am a Norwegian. I was born in the little seafaring Russian town of Uleaborg on the eastern coast of Gulf of Bothnia, the northern arm of the Baltic Sea. My parents were on a fishing cruise in the Gulf of Bothnia and put into this Russian town of Uleaborg at the time of my birth, being the 27th day of October, 1811. Okay, that's when he was born. So my father, there it is, Jens Jensen, was born at Rodwig on the Scandinavian coast near the Lofoten Islands. I totally didn't plan this out, guys. I literally remember their introduction. Here we are on page 17. He's explaining his introduction. What? So yeah, so he was born in Rodwig on the Scandinavian coast near the Lofoten Islands, but after marrying, made his home at Stockholm because his mother, my mother's people resided in that city. When 7 years old, I began going with my father and his fishing trips along the Scandinavian coast. Early in life, I displayed an aptitude for books, and at the age of 9 years was placed in a private school in Stockholm. There's the number 9. Remaining there until I was 14. After this, I made regular trips with my father on all his fishing voyages. So they were vivid fishermen. My father was a man fully 6 feet 3 in height and weighed over 15 stone. I don't know what that is. A typical Norseman of the most rugged sort and capable of more endurance than any other man. So he was tough, strong, I have ever known. He possessed the gentleness of a woman, cute, in tender-like ways, yet his determination and willpower were beyond description. Wow. That would make sense. You'd need a very strong soul to lead his son to the North Pole and make it through all that we talked about at the beginning. Crazy, huh? His will admitted of no defeat. I was in my 19th year when we started on what proved to be our last trip as fishermen, and which resulted in the strange story that shall be given to the world, but not until I have finished my earthly pilgrimage. I dare not to allow the facts as I know them to be published while I am living, for fear of further humiliation, confinement, and suffering. Because he went through a lot. He was jailed decades in jails, yeah, when he first landed back from the North Pole. So first of all, I was put in irons by the captain of whaling vessel. Oh, he's going to explain that here. By the whaling vessel that rescued me. So when he came back from the North Pole, they put him in jail. For no other reason than that I told the truth about the marvelous discoveries made by my father and myself. But this was far from being the end of my tortures. After 4 years and 8 months absence, I reached Stockholm, only to find my mother had died the previous year and the property left by my parents in the possession of my mother's people. But it was at once made over to me. All might have been well, had I erased from my memory the story of our adventure and of my father's terrible death. Finally, one day I told the story in detail to my uncle, Gustav Osterlin, a man of considerable property, and urged him to fit out an expedition for me to make another voyage to the strange land. At first, I thought he favored my project. He seemed interested and invited me to go before certain officials and explain to them, as I had to him, the story of our travels and discoveries. Imagine my disappointment and horror when, upon the conclusion of my narrative, certain papers were signed by my uncle, and without warning, I found myself arrested and hurried away to dismal, in fearful confinement in a madhouse, where I remained for 25 years, guys. Long, tedious, frightful years of suffering. Wow. So again, he went to the North Pole. He's voyaging back. Somehow, his father doesn't make it. He makes it back through the waters. And they jail him. I never ceased to assert my sanity and to protest against the injustice of my confinement. Finally, on the 17th of October, 1862, I was released. My uncle was dead, and the friends of my youth were now strangers. Indeed, a man over 50 years old, whose only known record is that of a madman, had no friends. So basically there was no one to keep him there, so he was released at 50 years old. This is sad. So this is his diary. And you'll find out basically at the beginning of the book, you missed part 1, this diary is given to the man who got it out. So on his deathbed, he gives the diary and explains what happened in the North Pole voyage. I never ceased to, I said that. Also, I was at loss to know what to do for a living, but instinctively turned toward the harbor where fishing boats in great numbers were anchored, and within a week I had shipped with a fisherman by the name of Jan Hansen, who was starting on a long fishing cruise to the Lofoten Islands. Here, my earlier years of training proved of the very greatness advantage, especially in enabling me to make myself useful. This was but the beginning of our trips, and by frugal economy, I was in a few years able to own a fishing brig of my own. For 27 years thereafter, I followed the sea as a fisherman, 5 years working for others, and the last 20 for myself. Wow. During all these years, I was a most diligent student of books as well as a hard worker at my business, but I took great care not to mention to anyone the story concerning the discoveries made by my father and myself, even at this late day. I would be fearful of having anyone see or know the things I'm writing and the records and maps I have in my keeping. This is the book we're reading, guys. Cool. So, because again, he'd end up in jail again, right? So we're talking about, 50 something years, 50, 70 years. He hasn't told anyone. So when my days on earth are finished, I shall leave maps and records that will enlighten and I hope benefit mankind. The memory of my long confinement with maniacs and the horrible anguish and sufferings are too vivid to warrant my taking further chances. In 1889, I sold out my fishing boats and I found I had accumulated a fortune quite sufficient to keep me in the remainder of my life, and then came to America. America. For a dozen years, my home was in Illinois. Why do you think that is? With everything we talked about earlier. Why would he choose Illinois of all places, you all? So near Batavia. It's actually like 30 minutes away from my house. Something like that. Where I gathered most of the book. Oh, no, it's actually closer. Where I gathered most of the books in my present library. Thought I brought many choice volumes from Stockholm. Later, I came to Los Angeles, arriving here March 4th, 1901, next to the Pacific Ocean. He knows what he's doing there. The day I well remember, because think about like the time he spent, which would have been, I don't know what they classify it, years? There's like no time there. How long was he there? They would have told him so much of our Earth and the different points that he can go to that would assist him, right? So I feel like these are basically taught to him by the inner Earth people. So I gathered most of the books in my present library, though I brought many choice volumes from Stockholm. Later I came to Los Angeles, arriving here March 4th, 1901. Tartaria. I think he says what town. Let's keep reading. March 4th, 1901. Where we know the pivotal Tartaria was happening then, right? Tesla and all that. The day I well remember as it was President McKinley's second inauguration day. I bought this humble home and determined here in the privacy of my own abode, sheltered by my own vine and fig tree, and with my books about me to make maps and drawings. Ooh. Of the new lands we had discovered, and also to write the story in detail from the time my father and I left Stockholm until the tragic event that parted us in the Antarctica Ocean. Okay. I remember that we left Stockholm in our fishing sloop. Why Antarctica Ocean? We won't know until we keep reading. I well remember that we left Stockholm in our fishing sloop on the 3rd day of April 1829. So this is back then with him and his father. And sailed to the southward, leaving Gothland Island to the left and Oiland Island to the right. A few days later, we succeeded in doubling Samhomenor Point, and made our way through the sound which separates Denmark from Scandinavian coast. In due time, we put in at the town of Christiansand, where we rested 2 days. So this is underway. Right now, they're just voyaging, okay? Because that's what they did, right? Where we rested 2 days and then started around Scandinavian coast to the westward bound of Lofoten Islands. My father was in high spirit because of the excellent and gratifying returns he had received from our last catch by marketing a Stockholm instead of selling at one of the seafaring towns along the Scandinavian coast. He was especially pleased with the sale of some ivory tusks that he had found at the west coast of France Joseph Land during one of his northern cruises the previous year, and he had expressed a hope that this time we might again be fortunate enough to load our little fishing sloop with ivory instead of cod, herring, mackerel, and salmon. We put in a Hammerfest, latitude 71 degrees and 40 minutes for a few days rest. Here, 71 degrees. Make a note. We want to look at the degrees later. On page 21, I want to look at where, once we understand degrees to where I'm going to explain part 3, we'll look and see where they were at there on page 21. So 71 degrees and 40 minutes for a few days rest. Here we remained on 1 week, laying in an extra supply of provisions and several casks of drinking water, and then sailed toward Spitzbergen. For the first few days, we had an open sea and a favoring wind, and then we encountered much ice and many icebergs. A vessel larger than our little fishing sloop could not possibly thread its way. You understand? They need a smaller one because you could crash into the iceberg, and your ship will sink if you crash into one of them hard enough, and because you can't cruise through them. You can't go through the icebergs unless you're in a smaller vessel. A vessel larger than our fishing loop would not possibly have threaded its way among the labyrinth of icebergs or squeezed through the barely open channels. These monster bergs presented an endless succession of crystal palaces, of massive cathedrals and fantastic mountain ranges. So there were crystal palaces and cathedrals on these icebergs, you all. Like factually, there was some there. Let's understand that. And fantastic mountain ranges, grim and centennial-like, immovable. Grim and centennial-like, immovable, as some towering cliff of solid rock standing silent as a sphinx, resisting the restless waves of fretful sea. So what is going on here? So this was part of the earth. He says, I'm going to talk to him because he's passed on, right? His spirit's talking to me. Yeah, he's passed on. Oh yeah, he passed on in the book. Okay, let's talk to him. Let's go, Olaf. Okay, only source of light as always. So then, okay, what are you talking about here? He's saying that there were actual crystal palaces and cathedrals on these. So he says that, okay, I see they're like islands. And it's of the world that was there, like the Lord of the Rings world, the world that was there before the fall, that are now kind of closer to the North Pole, because right now he's closer to the North Pole, that are they don't have life in them right now, they're what is the word? When you leave a place, they're abandoned, I guess. Okay.
Or deserted?
Deserted, that's the word. Thank you. Resisting the restless waves of fretful leaf. Okay. Oh. Some of these crystal castles, I see like these princesses. They're gorgeous, they're tall, and they're standing at the top of their towers, and there's just like the wind's hitting them in a time where it was green and livable. Okay. Wow, that in itself is another episode of what he saw. Okay, but we'll continue on. After many narrow escapes, we arrived at Spitzbergen, on the 23rd of June and anchored at Wijade Bay for a short time, where we were quite successful in our catches. We then lifted anchor and sailed through the Henlopen Strait and coasted along the northeast land. It will be remembered that Andre started on this fatal balloon voyage from the northwest coast of Spitsbergen. Okay, so someone named Andre started a balloon voyage. Who is that? Northwest coast of Spitsbergen. Andre, Andre. Okay, so they were there. This is where this man started his voyage with his. Oh, so then there was also a balloon guy trying to get there. Wow, I mean that would probably be the easiest, depending on the wind. Wow. We're on 22 now. Those of you who have the book. A strong wind came up from the southwest, and my father said that let me know once you have that information. You can interrupt me. And my father said that we had better take advantage of it and try to reach France Joseph land, where the year before he had by accident found the ivory tusk that brought him such a good price at Stockholm. Never before or since have I seen so many sea fowl. They were so enormous that they hit the rocks on the coastline and darkened the sky. What are sea fowl? Fowl. I keep reading.
Is it like a type of what are those, seagulls?
Look it up and let me know.
Okay. And then the Andre guy, he had an Arctic balloon expedition. The Andre.
The birds.
Yeah, the birds.
So the birds, so that they're birds. So that means that all seabirds gotta have some kind of land. So there's a lot of sea fowls then, and they're on the rocks. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. The Andre guy.
Yeah.
He had an Arctic balloon expedition in 1897. Whoa. Is what it said.
Your bumps. Mm-hmm.
And it said it was a failed effort to reach the North Pole, and that all of his people died. But it was a hydrogen balloon. And I don't know, I feel like what they're saying, there's some stuff that wasn't actually correct about that journey, because it seems like a separate one than the one he's talking about.
Okay, yeah. That's all right. So we know that he tried to get there. Okay, so a strong wind came up from the southwest. So they're going to go to the ivory tusk, right? Never before or since have I seen so many. Yeah, we said that. Okay, so for several days we sailed along the rocky coast of France Joseph land. Finally, a favoring wind came up that enabled us to make the west coast, and after sailing 24 hours, we came to a beautiful inlet. See how the wind is guiding them? So one could hardly believe it was the far northland. The place was green with growing vegetation, and while the area did not comprise more than 1 or 2 acres, yet the air was warm and tranquil. It seemed to be at that point where the Gulf of Streams' influence is most keenly felt. So then they reference back and forth for those of you who didn't watch part 1. So in 1, it's this it's a sailor, a different kind of sailor. Oh, he's who is he? Emerald, an emerald general, emerald. Yeah, Richard E. Byrd. So it seems this is being referenced from Richard E. Byrd's diary now. So it's going back and forth between both, and basically how they connect. Both Olaf's experience with his father, and then Richard E. Byrd's experience on sail too.
The Admiral?
Admiral, yeah, that's what it was. Admiral. Thank you. Sir John Barrow, this is what he wrote on his diary at this part. Sir John Barrow, FRS, in this work entitled Voyages of Discovery and Research Within the Arctic Regions, says on page 57, Mr. Beechey refers to what has frequently been found and noticed, the mildness of the temperature on the western coast of Spitsbergen, there being little or no sensation of cold, though the thermometer might be only a few degrees above the freezing point. Wow. The brilliant and lively effect of a clear day when the sun shines forth with pure sky, whose azure hue is so intense as to find no parallel even in the boasted Italian sky. So, okay, so that's a little bit of his journey getting there to Spitsbergen. On the east coast, there were numerous icebergs, yet here we were in open water far to the west of us. However, were ice packs, and still farther to the westward, the ice appeared like ranges of low hills in front of us, and directly to the north lay an open sea. So what direction is he right now? On the map that I have showed. He's coming in from the bottom right of the map, I think. Right?
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, the Greenland that and it sounds closer to where the area that you know how they had the 4 islands and then that one had no land marker underneath it.
Oh, there.
Sounds close to that.
Yeah, that's what I've seen it. Good. Okay. Just to get a visual for us. Where was I? Okay. However, where ice packs and still farther to the westward, the ice appeared like ranges to low hills in front of us, and directly to the north lay an open sea. Okay. So, again, referencing back to Richard Byrd, Emerald, Captain Kane on page 299, quoting from Morton's journal on Monday, the 26th of December, says, as far as I could see, the open passages were 15 miles or more wide, with sometimes mashed ice separating them. But it is all small ice. I think it either drives out to the open space to the north, or rots and sinks, as I could see none ahead to the north. Okay, these are his notes at that point. Emerald Byrd. Back to Olaf. My father was an ardent believer in Odin and Thor, and had frequently told me they were gods who came from far beyond the north wind. Do you think Adama might be Odin? That'd be interesting. We'll find out later, I think. There was a tradition in my father explained, that still farther northward was a land more beautiful than any that mortal man had ever known, and that it was inhabited by the chosen. Back to Emerald Byrd's notes. We find the following in Dutch mythology, page 778, from the pen of Jacob Grimm. Then the sons of Bor built in the middle of the universe the city called Asgard, where dwell the gods and their kindred, and from the abode work out so many wondrous things both on earth and in the heavens above it. There is in that city a palace called Elidjoth. And when Odin is seated there upon his lofty throne, he sees over the whole world and discerns all the actions of men. We're on page 23, by the way. At the end, my youthful imagination was fired by the ardor, zeal, and religious fervor of my good father, that I exclaimed, why not sail to this goodly land? The sky is fair, the wind is favorable, the sea is open. Even now, I can see the expression of pleasurable surprise of his countenance as he turned toward me and asked, my son, are you willing to go with me and explore, to go far beyond where man has ever ventured? I answered affirmatively. Very well, he replied. May the god of Odin protect us. And quickly adjusting the sails, he glanced at our compass, turned the prow in due northerly direction through an open channel, and our voyage had begun. Drop the mic. This is where we end it. Cliffhanger. Because everything that I explained in the beginning is gonna make sense, and now we're gonna understand the data as they start the voyage there. Exciting, huh, guys? Can you believe we have to wait till next month? If you are new to us and you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, this is the only video that's going to be available. The rest you have to come sign up to our Patreon to find out the rest. This is incredible, y'all. This series, I've channeled Nikola Tesla. 3 episodes of him. We got to see inside the New Yorker that is basically locked, and you can't get to these places. I got pictures and data and information that I got from inside of it. So we did that. Then we did Abraham Lincoln, 2 episodes of him. He explained the Civil War. It was incredible, just like to know about him and the people then that were starting, you know, the revolution. From there, where did we go? We went to, was it Area 51? Yep. Remote viewing Area 51. Go see. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. Get ready for that. There's a lot of stuff happening there. And then we went to remote viewing Grand Canyon. And then I went to Grand Canyon. And literally, like, it all aligned. All of it. We remote viewed Grand Canyon. And then from there, we went to the Philadelphia experiment, right? The remote viewing the Philadelphia experiment when time travel literally begins. And then Tesla and Einstein and the scientists. And now here we are into the Chronicles. It is big, you all. We are going to, from here, guys, we're going to talk to Hitler. Okay? We're going to figure this out. It's going to be a big one. After this series, we're going to Hitler. It's going to take me a minute to understand that and start talking to the benevolence of his oversoul as his higher self of Hitler and figuring that out. What I can say is that it seems like some things have been changed about him, and I won't know it for sure till I talk to him initially when we do channel him in the future. But I do feel that he was more positive than negative is what I'm saying. So we don't know how the history has been changed. We'll see how it plays out, but get ready for that. It's gonna be a big one, y'all. All right, well, I love you, honor you, and respect you. Thank you for being here. If you are new to us, go sign up to this Patreon this month. For the month of April 2025, you can get it half off. Why not? So instead of $8 a month, go sign up to that tier. Coupon code, is it half off? I think this is. Look it up. It's on my Facebook. I'll share the coupon code. But Gina, let me know what the coupon code is. So it's all capitals. We'll get that. And then, yeah. So go sign up to that and come listen to the rest of this extra sensitive series, you all. If you watch my content, and I have, you know, a Rumble that is not that busy. You know that I have a 0.6 of million views, and that's with them shadow banding me and changing my numbers. 0.6 of a million, you all, views. We know that there's a lot more of you watching than what's written. That's just Rumble. That's not including the millions that we found in TikTok and then YouTube. So keep watching. And if you love my content and you can't stop watching, this is a level up, believe it or not. And then my courses, of course. This is level up to that. This is the extra sensitive content that will put everything again into perspective in the deepest ways. Okay, so come to California Sekua, 20% off right now. Yeah, it is half off, right? Is it half off coupon? Half off all cap.
Yeah. Okay.
Type that in under Patreon. That'll give you half off for $4 instead of $8. Our first month. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you. I love you, honor you, and respect you. I'll see you in Sekua, California in June, and then I'll see you in Ireland. Let's have some fun, or come join me for the online workshop next month. Like this, I could teach you aura, hypnosis, past life regression, entity removal, and raw Reiki. Thank you for being you. The winds are strong here. Do you hear the wind? Those are the winds coming in from the North Pole right now, from Zion, you all. This is why there's the Windy City. I love you, honor you, and respect you. See y'all next time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.